Okay, I'm coming off of antidepressants and my head is doing very strange things to my brain at intermittent periods. Now, where was I? Okay, we're gonna be going over a couple things today. Several things. Hopefully pretty much everything that there's left to go over. I'm gonna talk about shape keys and then I'll talk about how to finalize your model and get it working in some VTuber software. Let's go. Everyone keeps asking for it and I keep not making this video, so I'm just gonna make it now. Now, what is a shape key, you might be asking? Let me just go over to my object data properties on my body mesh. These are shape keys. I already made all of mine. This is the blink left shape key. When I turn it on, I blink left. This is my E shape key. When I do it, I go E. These are what you use to tell programs how to make your face move, both in terms of lip sync and also facial expressions. Now, you might be expecting me to tell you how to make shape keys right now, but just kidding, that's actually the worst thing we could possibly do right now. Instead, we are going to do some testing first and make sure that our geometry is finalized just the way we want it. The thing about adding shape keys is it becomes very annoying to make certain changes to your model after you've added them, so we're going to make sure we don't need to make those changes, specifically on any meshes that are going to contain shape keys. For us, that means whatever meshes contain the polygons for the face and all of its features, including the eyebrows, teeth, tongue, and anything else you plan on having change with different facial expressions. I made my cat ears change along with my eyebrows, for example. This also meant I needed to have my ears be on the same mesh as my face, so those are some meshes to combine once we're ready to start doing that. At least I think. I'm not sure if it's possible to have multiple meshes correspond to the same shape key or not. If you feel like you need to keep certain meshes separate, you're gonna have to Google how to do that if it's even possible. I don't know. Anyway, in case it wasn't obvious, because Blender doesn't like you modifying geometry that already has shape keys on it, the fewer parts of your model that are on the same mesh as your face and whatever other things you're adding shape keys to, the better. For example, if after I already made all these shape keys, I wanted to make a change to the clothing later on, maybe I want this out here for whatever reason, that's easy, I can do that. However, I originally had my ears on the same mesh as my hair and my tail, and because I was dumb, instead of just separating the ears into its own thing and then combining those with the face, I just combined all of them. So now all of this is on the same object as the stuff that the shape keys are assigned to. Don't do that. You should have just had the face along with presumably the rest of the body, although that's not strictly necessary. And then the eyebrows and the eyes, eyelashes and ears, and then everything else should have stayed on their own meshes. So like a smarter thing to do, here I am on a previous revision of my model, would have been to grab these ears, select all of these faces associated with them, and then off to mesh, separate by a selection. Alright, now I have hair.001 here. This is just the ears. Click those, click body, Control J to join. No, wait, set the modifiers compatible first. This has a subdivide surface modifier on it, this body does not, which means I have to apply this one or get rid of it. I'm going to choose to apply it because my body previously had a subdivision surface modifier that I did apply, because guess what, that's another thing about shape keys. You can't have any geometry modifiers on any meshes that have shape keys attached to them. So you may notice I have a permanent high level of detail here, and there's no subdivision surface modifier here, because this is after I made all these shape keys and I had to apply that subdivide surface modifier before I could make those. So anyway, I just go here, apply that, and then I should be able to join this. Okay, now this is the mesh that, yeah. Oh, but wait, for some reason this bow is also a part of that. I don't know why. Oh, it's because I have this bell and the bow and stuff on the same object as the facial features. You can see where I went wrong here, right? I don't need to explain to you why this bow does not need to be part of the same mesh as this. Basically, you want to minimize the number of areas of your model that are going to be part of the same object as your face and whatever other bits, like your eyebrows, your cat ears or whatever, that are going to be affected by shape keys. You will need to have the inside of your mouth on the same object, like your tongue and teeth. Those are going to be changing most likely as you change your mouth around. But anyways, it's not just that this bow being part of the same object as my face is going to make it harder to edit this bow later on. It's also the fact that this bow now has its subdivision modifier permanently applied to it. I can no longer change it off because it's not in this list anymore. It's always better to have the ability to turn those off. For now, though. Okay, worry about that in a minute, I'll get to all that. For now, let's just try to finalize our geometry, especially on our face. To that end, I'm going to be talking about a very optional thing that some of you may or may not want to add to your model. Outlines. Feel free to skip ahead to the next chapter in the video if you don't want them. Now, there are two ways to do this. The easy way is to use a shader like Poyomi in Unity, which has great outline support, including... Wait. I should show the thing. Oh hey, Unity's being stupid, so I can talk about that thing I mentioned in part 3.5 or whatever about you not needing to pay for it. Do I go activate a new license? Can I... Yeah, Unity Personal. I did not make that much money. Oh wait, no, I don't use Unity in a professional capacity. Yeah. And then that should be fine? Yeah, you don't need to pay for this if you're just doing this stuff as a hobby. Your license is up to date. Great, can I access my fucking... There it is. The easy way is to use a shader like Poyomi in Unity, which has great outline support, including the ability to mask out problematic areas. You can see right here, there's no outline. Now there is. Wow. This will work in most cases, including VRChat, Beat Saber, and VSeeFace, which is the program I am currently using to make my avatar talk to you guys. The great thing about VSeeFace, in addition to it being free and also just an overall fantastic program in every other respect, is that it is one of, if not the only VTuber software that allows you to use custom shaders. As you can see here, I have a VSF avatar file, which is what I'm currently using in this program here. Most other VTuber applications use a VRM file, and the thing about VRM is it only has a very limited set of shaders you can use. I believe it does support outlines, but it does not support outline masks, at least last time I checked, and you're gonna want some outline masks. I will show you why, while also showing you the second way of making outlines, the harder way, manually. So what exactly is an outline on a 3D model? Well, the most common method of creating one, at least to my knowledge, is something called the inverted hull method. Let me hide my armature so it's out of the way. Okay, so I'm gonna click this, shift click this, and Control J to join these meshes just as a demonstration. I would normally not do this unless I was about to export my model. Alright, I'm gonna Shift D to duplicate this. Hit Escape to reset it. Now there's two of me. Let me hide the original, so now I just have the duplicate right here. I'm going to go to Material Properties and use this outline material. This is just a very basic material I made, it's just solid black, basically. Well, it's like a dark bluish kind of thing, but whatever. And to that end, I'm going to get rid of everything except for this outline material. There. I'm black now. I will now proceed to turn myself inside out. Here's how I'm going to do that. Go to Edit Mode, hit A to select all, hit Alt-N to access this Normals menu, and flip them. Alright. I'm now inside out. Kinda funky looking. I'm gonna re-enable this original body mesh, and now go to, I'm still selected the outline version, the inside out me right now. Gonna hit tab to go into edit mode, and Alt S to scale along normals. And I'm just gonna chunkify it a little bit. There. I now have outlines around my body. Essentially, what's happening here is we are seeing through the outer part of the body. We're basically only seeing it from the inside. We can, if we look through here, we're looking out of it, and we can see the faces here. Normally these faces are supposed to face outwards, but now they're facing inwards. So we can only see like the back of the faces, which means that when we look past our model, we can see the back edges of them right there. However, something you may notice is that this looks like garbage. Now, these are some fairly thick outlines. The thinner they are, the better they tend to look in terms of not looking like this, at least. Let me Control Z to before I scaled them. And make them not quite as big. Something like that, maybe. Okay, now that's a little bit more reasonable, but there's still problems. You see this right here? That's what we call a problem. And the thing is, those problems are still actually present on this model right here, because this outline is doing basically the exact same thing I just did, except it's kind of doing it automatically instead of us having to manually make a separate whole outline thing. By the way, this is going to double your poly count if you're doing it this way, whereas it's not doubling your poly count if you do it this way. I don't know what the actual difference is performance-wise, if there is any, but VRChat doesn't like it when you have too many polygons, so you're probably not going to want to use this method if you're putting your thing in VRChat. But anyways, let me go to my body texture, unlock this shader real quick. I have an outline mask on here. Allow me to show you what it looks like if that is turned off. How do I, can I just like backspace to clear that? How do you actually get rid of a thing here? I thought you hit backspace. I swear that used to work. If I click this and I hit no. Oh, okay, I click on that and then a backspace. Okay, you see how I have these like little dimple thingies around my mouth? Yeah, those are still there in this auto-generated outline. However, what I did was I made a mask. Let me show you this mask. Here's my mask. The white area is where it allows the outlines to show, the black area is where it doesn't. Let me transparency-ize this. So you may notice immediately I disabled there being any outlines around my mouth polygons, well, it just kind of becomes a little bit messy in there. So I got rid of that. I got rid of the, these are the whites of my eyeballs. You can't really see the problem here. I assume there was a problem, at least at certain angles or something. You can kind of see something there, I guess. And I sort of made this gradient shape around where those dimples were showing up here. I couldn't just make it solid black or there'll be this awkward cutoff. But I basically just made some shapes and I, like, blurred it a bunch until, you know. So once I apply this body outline mask to the outlines right here, all those problems get fixed up. If I were to do this manually, I'd have to be a bit more specific. And of course I did similar things elsewhere in the model, like I'm pretty sure I put a mask over all of the polygons for this collar thingy right here, because don't really need that, as well as this eyebrow. But if you're gonna do the manual inverted hull outline, which the only reason you would do it like this would be if you were using a VTuber software that does not allow custom shaders and you still wanted an outline and you happen to have problems with it, like these weird dimples on your mouth or whatever. If you fit all of those criteria, and I'll be honest, I don't know why you would, I don't know why you wouldn't just use VSeeFace, it is fantastic and free, then, well, you're gonna have to go in there and do it a little bit manually and just really, really get in there. Find some problem areas. Now this is the wrong polygon. I'm gonna hit delete to center that on my numpad. See, I'm trying to get in there. There, so I could like delete this face and that, you know, that starts to fix it a little bit, and I'll delete those two. For these eyebrows, I could like get a little bit creative, and if I Control L, I could like pull this out a little bit. The reason that this looks bad here is because you can't see the back of the faces, because those backs of the faces are inside the head here. You see? You want to be seeing these, but they're clipping through the head. So I could like maybe bring this out a little bit. Well, ideally I would only bring those back faces out. I just don't feel like selecting those all right now. But you see, that starts to fix it. Although really, for the eyebrows, I would just get rid of them because the eyebrows are already the color of the outline anyway, so, you know, I don't know why I didn't catch that. Now, I originally had some problems with this. Both with this inverted hull method, which I actually did originally use before VSeeFace supported the ability to have custom shaders. so I did go through this annoying process. But you're gonna have the same problems no matter which method you use, whether you use the inverted hull outline or some generated outlines in a shader like Poyomi. The difference is it'll probably be easier to make a mask outline in Poyomi than it is to go in and manually change things here. However, you will still notice the same problems, and some of those problems will be inherent to your geometry. For example, this is after I ended up fixing it, but originally, some of these hair strands were a bit closer to the head, and as a result of that, let me just roughly simulate what it was like by changing both of those things. There, you see that right there? That's not great. And again, the reason this is happening is because the hair is so close to the head that the outline of the hair is clipping through it. And when it clips through it, you can't see the back of the outline, and so you instead see this annoying shape. So to fix that, I just pulled the hair out a little bit, and then when the shadows got generated, nah, you can't see that there. Well, you can if you go down low enough, but it's harder to see. Now, you may notice I wasn't perfect with this. If you look up around my ear area up here, at certain angles, you can start to see those annoying shapes, like right there. I think when my hair is moving around a lot, you can occasionally catch a glimpse of that annoying shape at the top. But it's much more manageable than it was before, at least. And I did not really know what else I could do. Because of the way the ears are set up and going into the head, there wasn't really like a practical way I could figure out on how to fix the... yeah. I don't know. I tried my best. Okay, now that that's done with. Again, completely optional, but whether you are or are not planning on adding outlines to your model, you're going to want to start testing some things before you add any shape keys. Let me show you how to do that. Okay, let's get exporting. So, first things first. Either get rid of or apply any non-necessary modifiers, such as subdivision surface. I'm going to choose to apply it to my clothes. Now, the only modifiers I have are armature. This part is not strictly necessary for testing right now, but it is a good habit to merge your meshes once you're ready to export. So I'm going to select everything except for my body mesh with shift select, then shift select my body mesh last, then hit Ctrl J. I do this so that the final object here is named body. If yours isn't, just rename it to body. That will be another useful thing to be named properly later on. Oh, also, I've heard that setting your bone rolls to 0 is a good thing and can prevent stuff from going bad. So if you want to do that, select your armature, go into edit mode, hit A to select all of them, and hit Alt R, and that should clear all the rolls. Now I will select my skeleton in object mode, and then my model. I will not save unless it's to a new iteration, because we just applied modifiers and merged our meshes. This is not permanent. You're gonna go to Export, FBX. Make sure you limit to either selected objects or active collection, depending on whatever. The reason I had you select the armature and the body mesh was so we can click selected objects right here. Now it is not going to export all this other bullshit we have in this file. I am going to be honest, I don't entirely remember, nor do I think I ever really knew what the best things are to select here, and I don't know what all of them do. But what I'm about to do has worked for me. Apply transform, you may or may not want to have that on, I don't know. This might be something to consider if you do not have all of your transforms applied to like 0, 0 or scalings of 1, stuff like that, which you should have. So hey, actually let me cancel this real quick. If your model is, you look at it and you notice that this location is not 0, this rotation is not 0, the scale is not 1, click on it in object mode, hit Ctrl A, and apply all the transforms. I would not do that here, obviously, because then I'm not supposed to be that big. But in theory, if I was the right size, but this scale was the wrong number, I would do that. So I'm just going to leave this off. Under geometry, apply modifiers. This is another case where you should have probably already applied your modifiers, but I guess if you didn't, you can maybe leave this on. It says prevents exporting shape keys. So that might be something to worry about. Wait, No. Make sure the apply modifiers box is unchecked. Under armature, do not add leaf bones. I think you might maybe be supposed to click this one. Bake animation, I think this is all fine. If you've done any animation things, I think maybe NLA strips might be supposed to be turned off in certain scenarios, but I never mess with that. So everything here, but everything else defaults fine for me. Okay, I'm gonna export this as Mako tutorial. Now, the version of Unity you use may or may not be important depending on what you're doing. As of the time of me recording this, for the VSeeFace SDK, which is what we're going to be using, because, again, why wouldn't we? It recommends Unity 2019.4.29 F1. I went over this in part 3.5 already, so I'm just going to skim over this real quick. But go install Unity HUD. Go to Installs here, click on Add, click Download Archive, because you're probably not going to see it there. 2019.4.29. Click Unity Hub right here, and it should open it in this. Give it a second. Alright, we don't need any of that stuff. Install. Give it a minute. And while that's installing, let's go ahead and download the VSF SDK. Right here. I never remember how to download stuff on GitHub. Where is it? Okay, releases. Click on this one. And then there's the .unity package file. That's what we're looking for. Is this thing done yet? No. Okay, there's like a Windows console window that popped up and it wouldn't finish installing until I closed it. But anyway, let's go on to the projects. Click the arrow next to new, set it to 2019. Blah 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 blah, the one you just got. Name it whatever, VSF tutorial. Get dead named because Windows makes it really annoying to change your username. Then wait for it to do its thing. I am about to go over how to do this for VSeeFace in particular. If you are using a different VTuber application, well, the steps are for the most part pretty similar, and if you're going to be using your avatar in VRChat, I'll go over that in a little bit. Here we are in Unity. You can right click and use WASD to move around. Alright, find that FBX you just made, and if you want you can make like a new folder or something here. It's Mako VTuber, I don't know, doesn't really matter. Then drag that baby in. Give it a minute. There's a lot of giving it a minute required in Unity. Okay, there it is. You can put it in the world, but it's better to put it over here because then it will go to the 000 in the world origin. There's us. Oh, I should move myself over here. Oh, something else you're going to need is the VRM package for Unity. I believe that would be this one right here. I will of course have all this stuff linked in the description. Alright, let's import some packages real quick. So go up to Assets and you can import package, custom package, go to wherever you downloaded that stuff at and open it. So this is for the Uni VRM. I will keep all that checked and import. Something will probably break. That is to be expected. Go to Assets again and this time import the VSF SDK. I'm gonna be honest, I don't remember how any of this stuff works. I'm gonna mostly just be paraphrasing from Fofumit's tutorial here. Oh, but she's only talking about how to convert an already ready model to VRM, which means I have to remember how to do the rest of the stuff on my own. Oh boy! Okay, by the way, Blender likes to not remember these settings, so make sure you go and look at them again every time you export this. Make sure these are all still correct. Okay, future Mako, put that back in the past in the other part. Yeah. Click on this thing down here. Okay, up here at model, I believe legacy blend shape normals should be checked. I forget why. I think this might have something to do with the custom face normals I went over a while ago. Over in rig, change the animation type to humanoid. Hit apply, then click configure. You can save. Okay, here's your bones. Upper chest should be set to none, or at least it should if this is a VRChat thingy. My model is going to be working just fine in both VRChat and VSeeFace, so I just don't have an upper chest bone. Click on head and you should see a jaw having a bone arbitrarily assigned to it. I need to move, but I'll be down here. Okay. Yeah, my hair bangs 2.002 is not supposed to be a jaw. Click on this little thing, hit backspace. No, click on this and hit back. Click. There we go. Unless you have some sort of jaw flap thingy for VRChat, this should be set to none. If any of these look weird, make sure you fix them. Left eye, eye.l, that's all correct. And once it's all good, hit apply. Am I blocking that? No, I'm good. Okay. Can I come back up now? Okay, this one right here. Click. I tried to hit it with my tongue, but I don't have tongue tracking. Okay, just click done. Okay, cool. Another step done. Animation. That should be fine. Materials. I don't know how to use embedded materials, so I always just set it to external materials. You click apply, and then gonna make a materials folder. There's the materials. What you're gonna want to do now is go to your textures. I have 4 materials here, so I'm going to find the 4 textures that correspond to these. That would be these 4 right here. Drag them into here. Alright. Click the body bake material, and on the albedo thing, drag this onto there. Now I am skin colored. This needs to be set to pure white, or else it'll be weirdly dark or colored or whatever. Repeat the same process for all these other ones. Again, it likes to set them to gray. I don't know why. This hair was set to black, however, so that needs to especially get turned up. There you go. The texture. I have already run into an issue I have never seen before. There's supposed to be a VSF thingy up here to click on, and a VRM thing. Oh no. Okay, what you need to do first is import package, custom package. Now you need to actually download this as well, the Uni GLTF. And then you need to import that one first, then accept everything, and then you import the Uni VRM one, because I just had an issue where I did not download that and these thingies up here did not appear. All of this is subject to change in the future. In my previous project, all I had to do was import this one, but it was an older version, and this was also an older version of Unity. When in doubt, just look at what the page says, because it says in mostly legible English to import to Unity in this order. It says to do this one, and then it says to do this one, and then it works just fine. Then you can go ahead and import the VSF SDK. And as I just did with those other 2 things, just click import, accept everything it tells you to, wait for everything to finish. And that is the sound of progress. Right. Okay. Now I think I can just go up and click on VRM. I don't know why it says VRM 0. I want to export Uni VRM. Please set up an export root for more. Okay, I think I need to click on this one. Yeah, click on that. And then go up here. And then export it. Okay. Couple things. Unless your model is already in a T-pose, click Make T-pose. You can set some stuff here if you want. Okay, title is required. Macro, version 0, whatever. Author, me. All of this stuff. There's no blend shapes yet. We'll get to that later. I think all of this should be fine. I'm gonna hit export. I'm just gonna shove this into the root assets folder. Why not? I should have made a subfolder for that, because now there's a bunch of things here and I'm very confused. Okay, so it made a prefab here. Up here is our original thing. I'm going to disable it by clicking this up here, and now I'm gonna re-add the VRM version, which is this one up here, I think. I'm pretty sure. So yeah, there are essentially 2 versions of this. This is the re-imported VRM file version. This is a prefab. The actual VRM file is right here. I'm kind of confused as to how this works. I won't lie to you guys. It's a confusing process. But it's at this point that we can start adding our shaders and stuff. Dear God, I wish I put this in its own subfolder. But I can tell by looking at here, everything that starts with macro tutorial dot, these are the VRM, this is the new stuff. So if I go to materials here, here's the materials. Which means I should be able to, like if I modify this one, yeah, that's the right one. Okay, it is at this point that if you were doing something with the program that only supports VRM files, you would import you could import your VRM shaders. Actually, we already imported our VRM shaders because it made me do it. So that's VRM down here, MTune. Yeah, you can mess with this stuff however you want, change the shadow color or whatever. But we're gonna use Poyomi because we're making a VSF file, which is far superior. So I told you I had to do this in part 3.5, but it's the same deal. Once you have Poyomi downloaded, just import that there package. So I'm just gonna go ahead and go to Poyomi Tune. And again, go back and watch part 3.5 if you need to know how to work this. I'm just gonna set up some basic stuff here. Give it a tune lighting, give it some actual stuff there. Move these a bit closer to each other. Now there is a specific color I want to use for my outline as well as my shading, which would be the same thing I'm using for this line right here. So I'm gonna click on this black right here. Click on this, and let's see what color is this. I'm just gonna set my thing to RGB 30, 30, 40. 30, 30, 40. Alright. And that's just a stylistic choice. I like to have my shadow be a little bit colored. I'm going to enable outlines as well, and I'm gonna make it the same color. Again, artistic choice. Give it a width higher than 0, perhaps. I like to make the outlines on the clothes a bit wider than the outlines on the skin, for example. Both to follow the philosophy of line weight in 2D art, where things that are closer to the camera should have thicker outlines. The clothes are technically slightly closer than the skin is because they're over top of the skin. And also because it makes the sweater look a bit thicker and fuzzier. Not that thick though. Something about like, around here, I don't know. Something where I don't see stuff like that happening, perhaps. And we got some problems here. Luckily, I already made an outline mask for this, so I'm just gonna slap that in there. Problem solved, because I drew over in black in all these areas, so that it doesn't appear there at all. I was on the wrong spot again. I'm supposed to be over here for this. It's too late, whatever. When you are done with your shader, it is a good idea to lock it in. This is a thing specific to Poyomi. Poyomi is a very complex shader, and what this does is it heavily optimizes it. This is probably more important for VRChat, but it would certainly not hurt to do it here. So I'm gonna pretend I'm done with this. I mean, I pretty much am, and lock it in like that. And I can still unlock it if I want to go back and change anything afterwards. There was a point where I clicked lock and it set all my outlines to solid black instead of this slightly bluish hue, but that only appeared in Unity here, and it was the right color once I had it in VSeeFace and VRChat, so don't worry about that. Okay, I'm not gonna mess with the shaders for everything else. I think you get the idea. Instead, what I'm now gonna do is click on this over here, and okay, now I know I need to be on the other side of the screen for this one. Okay, make sure you're clicking in the right area. There's a big difference between clicking on your model up here and clicking on it over here. Wait, is there? Wait, or is this where I'm supposed to be? Wait, bro, I'm gonna be honest, I still get messed up by this. There's the, wait, the same thing is, this is the same, it's the same. But it's not, but it's the same. Dude, I don't know. In any case, click on one of them, come down until you find, oh yeah, I would have gone over blend shapes and the shape keys and stuff, but we'll do that later. It's just for testing to make sure the geometry looks good while everything's in motion. I'm not sure what this VRM first person offset thing is. If you want, you can set it to like around here or whatever. At least that's what I would do if it was VRChat, but I don't know if you should do the same thing here. I don't know what it's for, honestly. You can probably just leave it alone. I'm just gonna leave it alone. Okay, so I think you are supposed to click it on the hierarchy, not down in the assets. At least that's what Fulfillment says, and I trust Fulfillment. So, go down here. VRM look at head. You wanna drag your main camera into this target, and you wanna drag your head into this. So we go into our armature, navigate through our skeleton up to our head, and drag it onto there. Of course, making sure we're doing the correct thing, not our old one over here. Okay, our camera is all the way over there for some reason. We're just going to drag it over here. Now, if I click play, we go to scene here. Hey, look at that. It's already like working. This is how you test your eyes looking at this camera. You just move it around and there they go. Assuming you set everything up correctly. If you didn't, here's how to set everything up correctly. So in the VRM look at bone applier thingy, left eye, it should be set to eye.L. If it's not, you probably did something wrong, but you can fix that the same way we drag the head in, just drag the eyeball in. We can change the horizontal outer, horizontal inner, vertical down, vertical up. These are controlling how extreme your eye movement is. I'm gonna go back into play mode, click on scene over here, and this way I can move the camera like here, and I'm going to have an extreme, like, have my character looking directly all the way down into the side, basically. Actually, I'm gonna put it like way down here. Okay. I don't think those eyes are moving nearly enough. So for the vertical down, I'm gonna how does this work again? Okay. I'm gonna change these numbers around until I look down a little bit more. I'm gonna drag this camera up. I think that's pretty alright for, yeah, that's enough up for me. What about to the side? I think I could afford to look to the side a little bit more. So for the horizontal outer, I don't remember what this first one does. I'm gonna increase this. I'm gonna also increase this down here, probably to the same number so they move in tandem, around 20 I guess. I don't think these are the exact numbers I ended up going with, but it's gonna be very different for you anyway. These don't have to be the same number, it's just I feel like it can look a little funky without it. I don't know. Do whatever looks best for you. Once you're done with that, don't click play. Go up to here. No, go up, scroll up. Where the hell did they put it? Wait, did they make it so that it doesn't? No, it still does reset that when you stop, when you click play again. Oh wait, it's okay. Click on these three little dots. It might be a little bit different depending on what your Unity decides to look like today. But you can click copy component. And then, okay, so while I'm playing, I make my changes. Like I wanted to set both of these to 20 and set, I don't remember what I had them. But then I click copy component. And then once I unhit play, these all get reset. But then I can click this again and paste component values, and there we go. Otherwise, when you stop playing it, it'll reset. Alright, let's talk Jiggle physics. You can add a component to, well, I don't think it actually really matters where you add it to. If you want, you can click on the bone of whatever the thing's gonna come out of, like my head for my hair, for example. And add, if this is a VRM thing, you can add VRM spring bone. However, spring bones kind of suck in comparison to dynamic bones. In order to make this work, you expand this root bone thing. Change the size. Oh, you can't have an exclusion thing here, so I actually, instead of just setting the head and then excluding like the eyes and the ears and stuff, I have to make this like, I'll just set it to like 20 for now. I have to individually put every single one of these little hair bones onto all of these elements. Ooh, I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna leave it at those 4 for now. I'm gonna click play. And then if I click on my root right here, I look down here and I can move myself around, and those bones that I added to the spring are now swishing and swashing. Now I don't really want them to act like that in particular. I mean, it's not really terrible actually, but I can adjust them. I'm gonna click on the thing where I added my component to. There's a couple of different things we can change. Not very many compared to dynamic bones, but I can set the drag force up. And then I gotta click on this again every time I want to change it. And now it's a little bit slower and stuff. You know, there's some weirdness going on. You can mess with the settings however you want. Just remember once you're done to click up here, copy components, because when you unplay it, you're gonna have to paste those values again for it to save. So I'm gonna remove this now, because we're using VSeeFace, so I'm going to use dynamic bones, which I can also use for VRChat. I will let you find your own copy of dynamic bones, however you see fit. I trust your ability to do that. Once you found it, import a custom package. Where's the dynamic bone? I think this is an old version. I don't remember where I found this. I may have stolen it, if I'm being honest. They're not expensive. It's like 15 or 20 bucks, I think. I don't remember. This might be an older, like, free, worse version. I don't think I pirated it or anything. I don't remember how I have these. I know I didn't pay for it. Anyway, let's just ignore that. I'm gonna go to the root of my model. I'm gonna just add a component here and type in dynamic bone, and it is here that I will set the root bone to my head. And instead of adding every individual little strand, now everything attached to my head is nice and jiggly, including my eyeballs. I don't want my eyeballs to be jiggly, however, so I'm gonna open up exclusions here and just add how many do I need to add here? So everything under my head that is not my hair, so bow lower 1, bow lower 2, I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit. I could leave these ears on it because I also have jiggle physics on the ears, or that's what I want to have, it's what I already have, of course. But I want slightly different settings for them, so I would actually go ahead and make another version of this and then exclude all of the different hair strands, as well as the eyes and the bow. And I did that for every individual thing, like I wanted the bow to have its own custom physics and the ears and the hair. But anyways, most importantly, we want the eyes to be excluded. Okay, I go into play mode now. You're going to get slightly different movement depending on if you're sliding your old model around or if you are rotating your head. So I can click on my head bone here, click rotation. Why that ain't working? Wait, that works. Huh? Okay, I have no idea why that's not working, but it's fine, I can just move the neck. Yeah, it's a little rubbery, so I'll go back to the root of my model here. Scroll all the way down. Now I can remove the number of exclusions here. It's like 10, no, 8. Elasticity, let's lower that a little bit. Alright. Still going a little bit crazy. Let's up that damping perhaps. Okay, now it's going way too slow, so let's lower that damping, maybe increase the stiffness. You're gonna have to mess with these yourself, as I still don't entirely understand all of them. Inert is kind of like, the higher the inert is, the less it does. But I think it still does stuff when it rotates? Yeah, inert, like, at least on this version of dynamic bones, maybe it's different in other ones, but for me, inert only stops it from moving when it's being translated, not rotated for some reason. I'm gonna have that be a little bit though. Stiffness does a similar thing to inert, and then it makes it move less, but it also makes it more stiff, of course. Now, I don't remember my exact settings. Actually, I can bring up my exact settings. I want to show you my exact settings that I use for my hair. That way you can see if it works for you. Okay, these are the current settings I have on all my components here. I will just slowly scroll through so you can see. These are for my eyes. This dynamic bone, I believe, is for my bow. This is for my tail. And this is my ears. This is my, then this is my hair. As you can see, there's also a gravity setting. There's gravity and then there's force. Allow me to demonstrate the difference real quick. So gravity, which you generally want to be a pretty small number, gravity makes it so that when you tilt around, it tends to fall a little bit more in a certain direction, as you can see. Force, on the other hand, does the same thing, but it doesn't wait for it to rotate in a particular direction. If I type in the same number here, as you can see, my hair just falls down. If I type in 1, it'll go up. I used force instead of gravity on my bell right here. I also, okay, I don't entirely understand how this works, but for my bell, I had to set the end length to 2. Specifically for VRChat, it might have also been messing up in VSeeFace, I don't remember. But if I didn't, and I tried adding jiggle physics to the bell, it just kind of flipped all over the place. I think if bones are too tiny and you try to add physics to them, things just don't tend to like them. The end length, I guess, sort of simulates the bone as being longer, or maybe it like appends a virtual bone to the end of it or something. I don't know. If something is, if you have like a tiny thing that's freaking the hell out, just up the end length or something. Also, colliders. Colliders are a thing. I will show how they work for my hair, for example. Now, a problem that I run into if I don't have a collider here is that as I'm moving, well, it's mostly if I'm moving fast, but you see my hair can clip directly through my forehead. You don't want that. So what I do is I add a collider for the head. That collider is a component that is attached to the head itself. You can see it's the dynamic bone collider. These are the settings I set for this to be the right size. It's important to get it just right where it's not so small that it ends up having no effect, but not so big that it, well, does something like that. I look like a Guilty Gear character. You can also change the height of the collider, which is something I did for my hands, I believe. Yeah, if your height is above 0, it becomes a sort of cylinder, just to give it a bit more surface area. And the reason I have a collider here is so I can, of course, do this. Okay, other tips. You know, I'm done pretending I'm not reading from a script. You can look at this text file, I don't care. You can copy components such as dynamic bones that you use for VSeeFace/VRChat and paste them into other models in Unity, so you don't have to redo all the settings. So you will probably have to drag all the appropriate pieces of your model into these slots, or else it's going to try to use the ones from your model that you copied it all from, and you also have to adjust for differences, such as if your VRChat version has fewer hair bones, for example. Also, you can change the radius of your bones, which basically, let me go into play mode. What this does is, let me add to it, change it to like 0.01, change it to 0.1. Why is it not fucking doing anything? Well, this is affecting the size of the colliders that these things are using for collision checks, so I'm actually very confused as to why this isn't fucking us up right now. Oh, I see why. Because these aren't currently colliding with anything. So for this version of my model, at least, I don't remember if I did this for the other ones or not. I actually don't have that part of the hair colliding with my head collider. I have a separate thing. I excluded the front bangs from that one, and I made a thing for the front bangs, excluding everything else for here. And the radius of this collider makes it... It's a little hard to explain, but, well, if I make it big, you can see it's like, it's being heavily pushed away, because the radius of this hair is so big that it, and the collider's right there, so it has to like shove itself away from it. When this radius is increased, it gives you a little bit more room. Hair tries, that's just a little bit harder to stay away from the collider. And I think, other than shape keys, that might actually be everything. Yeah. Alright, let me stop being in play mode. I'm gonna make sure I have this selected up here. Go up to VSF SDK, and depending on if we're using a generic VRM application or VSeeFace, we'll use one of these two things to export it. If you're using VRM, just... Oh wait, this is my fancy one. I'm trying to show the bad one as an example. If you're using VRM, just do the same thing you did again, except don't force the T-pose this time. But I'm using VSF. So, detected invalid components of avatar unit runtime... What the... Oh god, I actually have no idea why that's happening. Wait, it doesn't like Uni GLTF runtime GLTF instance being a component? Okay, what if I just, what if I... Hey! I hope that wasn't important! Okay, I'm gonna save just, where the hell do I even keep these things again? I'll just put it on desktop now, whatever. Export complete. Okay, I'm gonna open up VSeeFace. Oh wait, I already have VSeeFace open. Okay, I'm gonna go back to avatar selection. I'm gonna add an avatar. I'm gonna add that VSF avatar file. Boop. And let's hope it works. Uh-oh. Okay, so I exported it as a VRM file. and it seems to be working. Except, of course, it's not using Poyomi shaders. Wow, this is really unsettling, seeing me move around and stuff but without any lip tracking with the realistic shading. I wish I wasn't looking at this right now. So why did the VSF one not work? Okay, so according to this person, the latest VRM, Uni-VRM thing is unstable. I'm gonna try 0.066.66. whatever. I think I maybe don't want any shadow strength on my outlines, by the way. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it at 0. Oh, I forgot to mention, if you want to see how the shadows look at different angles, grab the directional light up here, set your thingy to rotate, and spin the sun. Alright, let's see if this works. I added a Poyomi thing to my hair so I can see the outlines on that one as well. Okay, let's see. This one right here. It didn't work. Okay, so it turns out I just had an old version of VSeeFace. Once I updated to the new one, it worked just fine. There are going to potentially be differences that you're gonna have to account for in the future, where you may need different versions of things, or for example, while I was trying to troubleshoot this, it was suggested to me that I use the Uni-VRM 0.66 SDK as opposed to version 0.81. 0.81 makes you import this Uni-GLTF thing first and then the Uni-VRM package. Now, I did end up getting it to work with the 0.66 version. I'm gonna see if the 0.89 version also works. So like, if I go up here and I click export this, it's gonna tell me it doesn't want that component to be there. So I'm gonna remove that component. I don't know what it is, and I'm gonna try exporting it. Alright, I don't know what all that is. Let's see if it worked regardless. It's the 0.89 whatever thingy. And it looks like it did. Okay, cool. So, in my particular example, I was able to use... Oh, it's 0.81, not 0.89, whatever. I was able to use this one, as long as I removed that weird component, but according to this Discord, some people have had problems with this one, and it was suggested to use this one instead if anything went wrong. I'll make it simple for you. If you just go to the VSeeFace website, I will link this in the description, of course. You just make sure you have the most recent one downloaded, go over to VSF Avatar, make sure you have the most recent SDK downloaded. Then you Google Uni-VRM package, and you can try out whatever happens to be the latest one, and if that doesn't work, see if you can find like a older, more stable version. I don't know. If worse comes to worse and you can't get something to work, you can just download the exact same versions I'm using here. Old versions of VSeeFace can be, there's a download archive thingy over here. I'm currently using this one. No, this one, because there's a K at the end of mine. And if you click on releases over here, you should be able to find different versions. Yeah, there's like different pages to cycle through them. Or you can just Google either the V0.81.0 or the 0.6. Yeah, I'm not gonna link these specific versions in the description, since by the time you're watching this, newest versions may have changed. I'm just gonna link the basic thing where you can find the latest release. Okay, yeah. Anyway, all that said, as you can see, our avatar works, more or less. We did not add any shape keys, but everything else is working. You can see the eye tracking is functioning just fine. I'm going to actually go to this version of it, where I ended up adding the Poyomi outlines to the hair. What we're doing now is we're looking at our geometry. As you can see, every now and then, as I'm moving my head around, there's bits of the hair outlines that sort of start to look ugly, so I could go in and fix that by either moving the hair further away, changing the outlines to be a little bit thinner, or changing the hair physics. I could like make the hair move around a little bit less, because yeah, it's kind of clipping through my head, and that's not really what we want. So I'd probably up the inerts or the stiffness on it a little bit, but that's not exactly a geometry problem, that's just done in Unity. We're looking for geometry problems. I'm gonna plug in my Leap Motion. Now there's a couple different ways to use hand tracking. I will probably go into that in a little bit more detail either later in this video or in a different part. But basically, I have this little thingy on my desk looking up at me, and I go to settings here, I go to Leap Motion settings, I make sure this position is flat on desk, and I adjust it accordingly so that this little thing is roughly, if I pretend that my desk is right here, this is in the right position. That's maybe a little bit far away from me, so I'm gonna move it a little bit closer. And if I turn on track leap motion, and I bring my hands up, uh-oh, wait, it's a little finicky at times. Hey, there we go, cool. Okay, Fingers seem to be bending pretty normally. That's important because these fingers are on the same mesh as my face, which are going to be adding shape keys to. I've been going very out of order here, and normally we would not be in this screen until our mouth is able to move, but I think this is helpful for troubleshooting. This was after I fixed that weird thing where moving my thumb caused my sleeve to kind of bend with me. The only real problem I see here, other than maybe the hair physics needing to be dialed back a little bit, is that bell, well, the entire collar around my neck is moving around a lot. The bell itself doesn't. Oh wait, that's because I haven't added physics to the bell yet. Right. Anyway, your model may not look this ideal. If it doesn't, hopefully you know what to do by going back into Blender and fixing things up. Then just repeat those export steps, do all the Unity stuff again, and try it all again. Just remember, whenever you gotta like re-export everything, you have to pretty much repeat all this stuff again, or at least most of it. You can keep your materials folder that you made, and just re-drag your FBX into wherever you put it. And then once you click use external materials, it should update all this, but then you'll have to reapply your shaders and stuff. And you gotta re-export the VRM and then re-import the VRM after deleting the other one. Some of this stuff up here, like there might be ghost versions of this after you delete them, so you can just go up here in the thing and click delete. You can figure it out. There's a lot of settings in here you can mess with. Expression settings, which we don't have set up yet. Blink sensitivity, look down threshold, gaze strength. You can mess with all this if you want. I'm not going to go into a bunch of detail of it, at least not right now. Cool. Let's try this out in VRChat, because our body is going to end up moving around a lot more in VRChat. I will try to show you how to do that now. Okay, so VRChat. It is once again time to have a specific Unity version, which according to the documentation is the current version. That makes things easier. No, check the current supported Unity version page. Okay. Oh, look at that. It happens to be the same one that we were using for VSeeFace. Okay. In that case, I will open my Unity HUD, don't look at my desktop, and make another new one on... Actually, this doesn't have to be a new project, since this is the same version of Unity. Now, this may not be the case for you by the time you end up watching this video. The VSeeFace SDK and the VRChat SDK may end up using different Unity versions. Yeah, same project. Here's my VSF avatar. Well, here's the VRM Export, and then this is the original FBX file, and this is the one after we exported our VRM and we re-imported it back into the thing. Yeah. Okay, so we should be able to just use that original FBX import over here, because I already set everything up on that. Future Mako here. I just realized that this model is after it got forced into the T-pose. I don't know if that's a problem. I also have absolutely no idea how to reset it, because if you click on the shoulder or the bicep or whatever, you go up here, you click reset. That's not quite right, because if you look at any bone, like I'll click on my spine for example, you see these fucking numbers here? What the hell is this? This is just how it came out of the box. If I click reset on this, that's not right. If I select my entire armature and I reset it, I become small, because my scale is 100. If I right click the armature and select children, and I reset all of them, okay, well, I'm small, but if let's say I only reset the position and the rotation, that's... So, you should either re-import your FBX again so it's back in the A pose or whatever other thing you used, or just move on and maybe it's fine to be forced into the T pose. I don't think I ran into a problem with it when I was testing in the rest of the tutorial. I don't know. I don't like that. And that would be select prefab asset? There it is. It helps to be organized. Be better than me, please. Okay, we click on it down in the assets window, and our materials are all still using external stuff. And this is where it's important to make sure your upper chest is blank in your rig when you click configure. I'm blocking it again. You click this down here, not this up here. It's the same thing, but it's not. This is where you find the import settings, and this is where the It's okay, we don't have to understand how Unity works, we only need to understand how to do this one very specific series of steps in order to fulfill our destiny. Over on the VRChat documentation, get the SDK, choose your SDK. VRChat SDK 3 is the current good one. Where is the download? All of these SDKs are available on our website. Log in with your VRChat account. There, download SDK 3 avatars. Go ahead and do that. And then go up to assets and do the thing you've been doing a million times already. VRC SDK 3, preparing package, import everything. Alright, and then you should see another thing up here. Go to control panel, and next you log in. You have over to builder, a VRC scene scripter, VRC avatar descriptor. Okay, add component. VRC avatar descriptor. We are of course adding this to this thingy over here. This is our FBX, our original FBX import before we did the VRM stuff. Okay, now a couple things here. First of all, you can go ahead and add whatever shaders you want. So that's of course back in the materials. Now I am once again, just as a test, going to only add Poyomi to this one thing. You can feel free to do whatever you want. I'm going to do the same thing I did before with the hair and adding all these exclusions. However, I'm also going to add my bell here just to showcase some problems I had with it. Now, something like this doesn't work as well with gravity. I instead want to apply a constant force to it. I'll show you why. If I add, say, negative 0.025 in play mode, and I start rotating a little bit. Wait, why is that just not working at all? Is it because I don't have an end length on it? Okay, yeah, it needs an end length to even work at all, I guess. It's kind of rotating in the wrong direction for some reason. It tends to work better for me when instead of gravity I add a constant force to it. However, well, now it's going down a little bit too much, so I'm going to... Let me get out of play mode and then redo all those settings I just did because I forgot to copy them. No gravity, yes force. Okay, the problem here is when I try to rotate this up like this, and I go back to my thing, it stops. I'm gonna get rid of this entire component because it doesn't like it when you try to edit something that has that dynamic bone component on. I don't know why, I don't understand this program. I just do what it tells me to do. There I'm gonna rotate it up, and now it stays. So now I'm gonna add another dynamic bone. Jam that bell in there, increase the end length to 2. Force negative 0.025 is about right. Play. It looks like we're going to want a little bit less than that. How about just 0.02, 0.01, 0.005. Now, when I rotate, it operates a little bit better. Yeah, that's a lot better than it was before. It's actually falling down on like the right axis now. Also, my hair is going crazy, but I'm gonna just leave it at the default settings for now because I think it's funny, and it doesn't matter, I'm just testing this, you can set it to however you want. I already know how to get my hair set up properly. So this time I'm not gonna forget to go back here, copy the component, stop playing, and then paste the component values. I'm gonna Control S to save. You know what? How about I add some stuff to the tail as well? Why not? That'll be tail.001 right here. I'll put that as the root bone. Actually, okay, that bone is hard to see, but that's this bone right here, which means when I go to play this, that's a little bit too deep in there because now it's kind of clipping through my shirt and stuff. So I'm actually gonna basically pretend that bone doesn't even exist and use this one instead. That is much better. Okay, now let's do the actual VRChat stuff. So because we added the VRC avatar descriptor, we have a couple things right here, such as the view position. You see this little gray sphere? This is where you're going to be seeing out of in-game. We don't want it right here. Let's just drag this, you want it generally like around... I wish I could move this. I don't know, is there a way to move the camera slower? Probably, I haven't found it yet. I'm gonna have to fine tune this a little bit. Let's try 162. I want it lined up with the center of my pupils, basically. Then you want it roughly right. That's pretty much perfect. A little bit past your model's face, so it's not quite inside of your own model. Let me actually add like just a tiny little bit there. That's pretty much perfect. Okay, lip sync, we don't have any yet. Eye look, enable. There are a lot of things that can go wrong with the eye tracking in VRChat, at least in my experience, but I'll go over that in more detail later. Let's see, if I click preview here, and I can confirm that those work. don't have any blend shapes for my eyelids yet. Lower body, all that's fine. I don't have anything there yet. And that's basically it. Oh, I almost forgot. Rotation constraints. If you set up something in Blender, such as like making your ass bend along with your thigh, like I talked about, as I said in the rigging video, that is not going to be transferred over to here, but we can very easily add it again by going over here. So click on your ass bone, or whatever bone you might be using for this. Maybe you're using the ab thingy or something, I don't know. I'm using my ass because it looks kind of bad when it bends like that. So butt.l, I'm going to add component. Rotation, just type in rotation constraint. I want it to be active. I want it to have a source, so I will click this. I will drag thigh.l onto it because this is the left thigh, making it so that the left butt rotates with the left thigh. Open up constraint settings. I believe it's going to currently do nothing. Yes, because this needs to be checked right here. Lock it. And now if we rotate it, it's going to go way too far. That's okay. Let me actually leave it in this position so we can preview it like that. Set the weight down to something reasonable. 0.3 tends to work pretty good for me. And then there you go. Pelvis slightly less nightmarish looking. Let's go to the VRChat SDK. Control panel. There's a lot of problems here. If there's an auto fix button, you can go ahead and fix it. I don't know what half of this stuff does, but I trust it. Overall performance very poor. That is to be expected. We are not going to be showing this to anyone. Not yet. Just go ahead and click not build and publish, but build and test. When materials have not been locked and will now be locked. Oh, that was because I forgot to lock my Poyomi shader. That's fine. Test avatar built. Excellent. Let's go try it out. VRChat. If you have a VR setup, it could be helpful to test it in VR. I do have that, but I'm not going to bother with that because you can get more control over your avatar if you have a VR headset. You can move your limbs around and bend your head and stuff and see how all that works. Who am I? Oh right, my sister was playing this game while I was visiting my partner's house. Avatar. It should appear in other. This is the one I just had. Mako tutorial. Test this avatar. God, my ass is fat. Alright, yep. I can tell this is the right one because my hair looks like garbage, but it's all working, except possibly for the eye looking. That's to be expected. This game is very specific with how it wants your eyes to work. As you can see, the bell is not freaking the hell out because I set the end length properly. My tail's properly swooshing. By the way, if you don't see what you expect to see in here, that might be because you're logged in on Steam and not in VRChat itself. So I'm gonna log out right now and log in with VRChat. Because the stuff that you publish on Unity when you're logged in on the SDK there is gonna be the same stuff associated with that same account in VRChat. So if I do that, then now it's gonna take me to my actual world that I set as my home world. There's a pool table. There was not a pool table. You know, I don't remember there being a pool table there last time, and I guess there isn't, so nothing's changed. But yeah, we can see all our stuff right here. Look at this motherfucker's smug expression on his face. Oh, this reminds me, I need to talk about cape physics at some point. I'll get to that. I'll get to that a little bit later. Cool. Look for. Okay, here. Hang on a second. I'm gonna go to. Okay, I don't know where this is. I think third person might help me find it. Okay, this is a helpful one. Udon third person camera. You press T to toggle third person camera, and this is helpful. You can crouch and stuff and make sure all your bones are bending properly. As you can see, my tail is acting a little bit funky. That's a little incorrect. Though I'm not sure if that's my fault or if that's just VRChat. But if I wanted to, I could look into how to fix that. I don't know how to fix that. I don't think I have this problem with my other model though, so yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna hit R to go in front. Here I come, gonna get ya. Oh, there's some geometry problem. You see at my ankles right there as I'm swoosing along, the underlying mesh of my socks starts to clip through the bottom of my pant legs. That's bad. If other parts of your model are clipping, like for example, your arm is coming out through your sleeve while you're testing it there, that's fine, because we're going to end up deleting those faces or at least hiding them later on, so don't worry too much about that right now. So you should just Why is this so, like, intimate looking? So you should just run around and look at all the different camera angles you can, and look for any parts of your model that are not behaving as you would like them. There's some outline problems on the shoulder straps there, but that's because I didn't set up the outline mask. Once again, we are mostly looking at the mesh and or meshes that are going to have shape keys, such as my face, my skin, my ears, and all of those look generally fine except for maybe around my ankles. I could probably separate that into its own mesh if I wanted to. That might even be smart. So like my bust area, like my shoulders, neck, and head would be on their own mesh for the shape keys, and my hands and my feet would be on their own separate thing. That might be smart. I didn't do that. You can do that if you want. Yeah, everything looks really weird because I only set up Poyumi on my clothes and not on my other materials. But at least my custom face normals appear to be operating correctly, even if it's kind of hard to tell because I don't have a toon shader on my face. Dude, why does the ass just like jut out? Like, this isn't me. I mean, it is, but G to toggle free roam. Like, what? Okay, I don't know if this is a problem with my rigging or if this is just how VRChat likes to position your pelvis, but boy does that not look comfortable. Okay, I think it's about that time I actually tell you how to make shape keys, because hopefully by now you will have ironed out all the other scratches. Okay, looking at my actual finalized mod, it looks like it does not have that problem with the tail. Jesus Christ, I don't remember what my ass looks like until I look at it again. There's some pretty bad clipping happening there that I never noticed. I might have to... I gotta fucking write that down as a thing to fix. Ass go through shirt while crawling. I notice my knees are in the ground. I am not going to be taking responsibility for that. I may not be a professional rigger, but fuck you, this is not my fault. Maybe it is. I don't know how to fix it. At least the tail is working properly. It's okay, I'm usually just walking around standing like this and everything here looks fine. It's alright, it's okay, everything's fine, everything's fine. Hey. How's it going there? Okay, shape keys. Okay, now this is the point where you need to figure out how many tries you're gonna aim to have at the end of things. For some of you, you may see your try count at the lower right hand portion of the screen. For others, you're gonna have to click on this and click statistics here, and you can see it at the top left. As you can see, I have 80,000 with all of my subdivision surfaces on all of these different meshes that are currently visible. VRChat has a 70,000 try limit, so I was gonna just disable subsurface modifiers on everything when exporting my VRChat version, and then just keep them on for like my VTuber application purposes to have the higher poly count version for that. But Blender does not like having geometry modifiers on objects with shape keys, so I had to commit to applying my subsurf modifier on the mesh that contained my face, and then I made sure I'd still be able to end up below the 70k try limit by leaving the rest of the subsurfs off, and also seeing what the number would be if I deleted hidden body faces under the clothes, and then undid all that because we're not ready to commit to that yet. So like all of this stuff that's hidden underneath the clothes, I would delete all this stuff, including the entire ass. I would get rid of it all. Just get rid of everything underneath of these clothes and see what my try count would be at that point. I just lost 1,000, but I would lose more as I would delete these all this stuff. You know, I'm purposely not showing you like my naked body because I feel like, I mean, you're not allowed to see that, even if it is just a 3D model. So like just all of this stuff, all of these faces go away. I would select it better than that. Wait, I can just actually Control L to select, because I already marked these seams. So I can just do that, and then all that's gone. Well, most of it. Oops, I wasn't supposed to delete that part. But you get the idea. Now I'm under 70k. Oh wait, but that's because I have clothes turned off. With them on, I'm at 77,000. But if I turn off the subdivision surface modifier on this, I'm just above 70,000. And if I do the same thing on my hair, 40. Okay, the hair kind of needs it though, or at least it needs some. I have it set to 2. What if I set that down to 1? Okay, then that actually gets us way lower. Yeah, you get the idea. Experiment with what you're able to do to potentially get yourself below 70,000, but obviously don't save any of this because we're not ready to actually delete those faces yet. Basically, as I was doing this, I had to choose right then and there how many polygons I wanted my face mesh to have, because my options were either 1, making the shape keys on a low poly face and stripping away the model's ability to look better, as seen here. 2, committing to a high poly face by applying this subdivision surface modifier, and then making sure I could still get below 70,000 triangles for VRChat everywhere else. If you're not planning on doing anything with VRChat, there's a lot less you have to worry about here, obviously. Option 3, I could do all the shape keys twice for 2 different versions, one for the low res face mesh and one for the high res face mesh. But fuck that. Or 4, spending hours scrounging the internet trying to find some sort of obscure workaround for this. I went with the second option. I made sure I could still get below 70,000 tries after applying this subdivision surface modifier to the mesh containing my face, and I committed. On a different save, of course, and also after undoing all of that other stuff, like deleting all those faces, because like I said, we are not ready to do that yet. Now, I've heard that there are ways to get past VRChat's 70,000 limit, but if you want to be a bad boy and go for that, you'll have to do your own research, because I've never tried that. I do know that poly count is not a huge problem for performance. It's not as bad as like dynamic bones or the number of meshes and materials you have, for example, unless you have like millions of polygons in your model for whatever reason. Alternatively, if you don't plan on using this in VRChat at all, you can just feel free to apply your face's subdivision surface modifier, assuming it even has one, and be fine with whatever your polygon count happens to be, as long as it's not like a super ridiculous number that your PC might struggle with in VTuber applications. Alright, we've had a good long think about what we're gonna do here. Once you've decided what you're gonna do, it's time to move on. But the important thing you need to know is that you cannot have this subdivision surface modifier on the mesh you plan on adding shape keys to. Unless you're watching this video in the future and Blender decided to fix this, because it is kind of annoying that you can't do that. And I wouldn't be surprised if that changed at some point. So I'm going to either get rid of or apply this. I'm going to apply it because I want it. I don't want to look like this in my VTuber applications, so let me go ahead and do that. We are now going to save on a new iteration, because that was one of the most destructive processes we've ever done. Dear God. I'm just gonna make a tutorial shape keys file. Okay, shape keys. Let's go. As I said, a shape key is a modification of your base's, like, base geometry. I'll make an example right here. Well, first you want to have one that's just called basis. That's important. You may have noticed that my mouth was slightly agape. Once I started doing my shape keys, I ended up closing the lips more once I made this basis shape key. Well, before I make the basis shape key. Then I'm going to make another one, and as I have this one selected and I hit tab to go into edit mode, I can now modify my geometry a little bit. I can grab the bits of my mouth with the mirror editing thingy turned on, pull it down, and it can be a little tricky to get this to look good, but I believe in you. Okay, this part definitely needs to come down. Do that. Okay, now if you go back into object mode, you see this value right here? Wow, look at that. My mouth is kind of opening a little bit. Make sure if you're going to edit anything with your model, you turn this value back to 0, you're on the basis thing, or you're on whatever shape key you want to actually be editing. Alright, so that's cool and all, but what are we supposed to be making here? Quite a few things, actually. This page is a pretty good guide. These are all of the important ones we're going to want for both VRChat as well as VSeeFace, or whatever other VRM application you use. If you scroll down here, you can see examples of what each shape is supposed to look like. So I'm going to actually name this one VRC.V _ ah. This is the sound your avatar makes when you go ah. That means we want to not only open the mouth up, but also probably lower the jaw a little bit. Probably. This may not be necessary on all styles, but it's probably usually a good idea at the very least. So let me just drag that down a little bit. Ooh, I forgot to do something! I think I mentioned this before, but these teeth should be on the same mesh as this, along with the tongue, because these teeth are going to be opening up as my jaw is opening up. I wonder what happens if I just try to join them like this. Oh, I forgot to apply my modifier. That subdivision surface on. This mesh contains more than just the teeth and tongue and eyebrows and eyelashes. Those 4 things are what you want. But it also has the bow and the collar and the bell thing. If I was smart, I would separate those into a separate thing, and then I wouldn't have had to apply the subdivision surface modifier to those, but I'm an idiot, so I'm not going to do that. But you should. Okay, now can I join them? The shape key stuff not getting messed up? Evidently yes. Alright, cool. Let me edit this again. And I'm going to select all the teeth here with my Control L and move them down like so. I will also rotate them along the x-axis a tiny bit, because that's how the jaw opens up. Okay, now I can see how that looks by going back into object mode and changing this value up and down. The teeth are going a little bit further than the mouth is going, but honestly the mouth isn't really opening up enough, so I'm gonna make that come out more, including the jaw. Using my scroll wheel to, of course, adjust how much the proportional editing is affecting. Trying my best. Bring it down straight from the middle. But you don't want to just go straight down, you want to also go like this a little bit, maybe rotate this along the X. It's gonna require some fine-tuning for sure, but eventually you can hopefully get something that looks decent. I can probably also raise this upper lip a little bit, and yeah, something like that should help. Of course, you never want to change the upper teeth, because those are attached directly to your skull, and those don't change. Alright, there's a kind of sloppy shape key, but you get the idea. I can't tell you how to do this perfectly. You're just gonna have to look at it from every angle and look at, okay, this bump is kind of sticking out a little bit. I'm gonna drag that back so that doesn't look as weird. This looks weird, but I am the cat boy, so maybe that's supposed to be like that, I don't know. This should definitely be back further. Well, not just that, pretty much from here to like here. Drag all that back a little bit. But then it looks like I don't have a lip at all, so these faces should probably come out a little bit. Not that much, but just a little bit. Is that starting to look a little bit better? That's kinda, but then it's messing up this over here, so I gotta move that back. You get the idea. If you are able to make this model, I trust in your ability to make this look at least passable. Of course, that's just one shape key. After doing that one, I would add another one, name this one VRC.V_CH, and I would make it look like this. And I would do that for all of these. I will of course link this page in the description. You will also need some for blinking. VRC.blink_left. Okay, I'll edit this. I'm gonna hide my hair. And this can get a little tricky, because I have to bring these eyelashes down as well. It's like, does that work? Maybe? I'm gonna just do that very crudely and then see how that animates. Okay. As long as it's not like twisting through itself, it should be alright. Let's fix this up a little bit. Align this to the eyelid, just as we did when we were originally making it. Oh, it's gonna require some fine-tuning. And then once we're done with that, grab the actual skin part of the eyelid, drag this down. I would go like halfway, like this, and then maybe grab some more edges and continue, so it doesn't pull the entire forehead down with it. Yeah, it's not easy. This looks this looks great. I don't know what you're talking about. That looks amazing right there. Okay, here's the problem. I had mirroring on, so I was editing that on both sides. But this is an excellent opportunity for me to show you how to do something. Okay, so check this out. I'm going to first turn off my symmetry. Then I'm gonna select everything over here, everything that was getting affected by that. Actually, let me first select this, and Control L, so I select the entire eyelash, and then get the rest of these. I can go up to Vertex and click Blend from Shape. I will make sure the basis is the one I'm blending from. I will uncheck Add, and I will notice that there's a couple more faces I need to select here, like the entire inside of this eye cavity. Okay, let me try that again. There we go. I have restored these polygons to what they were at the basis shape key. Let me go back to object mode and make sure this is only affecting these now. Did I see something moving here? Let me turn this wireframe on. Nope, it seems to only be affecting the left eye now. Okay, so now we have a very, very bad looking left eye blink. I'll show you a better version of all of these in a little bit. This is just to show you how to do it. Now, I'm going to click New Shape Key from Mix. Well, first I'm going to set this value up to 1, then click New Shape Key from Mix. And what this will do is make a new shape key based on all of the other shape keys you just had enabled, which in my case was just the left blink one. So yeah, now that's what this one does. And now I'm going to mirror the shape key. Okay, I guess that worked despite there being a scary looking Blender error message. Yeah, whatever, we got 2 blinks now, 1 for each eye. Yay. Now you can also combine these. The VRChat Avatars 3.0 requires you to have a VRC, what was it called? VRC.blink_both. So let me first name this VRC.blink. Right. I'm going to enable both of these, turn their values all the way up to 1. You can also propagate when a thing is only like halfway there, for example. But for this I'm going to do this. New shape key from Mix, name this VRC.blink both. So then when I turn off both of these individual ones, I now have this one that blinks both of them at the same time. You can also do this for all of your other mouth shape keys. For example, let me turn this wireframe back off. Let's say we want to make the VRC d shape for when your character makes a d sound. This guide recommends using it as a variation of the sound, which you probably should do, but just as an example, I will show you. I can open this partially instead of all the way, and then click New Shape Key from Mix. And then turn this back off. And now this shape key is this. We used our partially opened ah as a basis to make this. And then I will probably go in here and change the tongue around to go up against the teeth, which you may or may not want to have that much attention to detail, but well, it's not a particularly tricky thing to do. You kind of just go in here and just feel where your tongue is in your mouth when you're making these kinds of sounds. Duh, duh. It kind of goes up there. So now we have a sort of duh sound. Okay, I'm going to show you a couple of the actual shape keys I made for my finished model here. Let me hide those bones. Okay, here's blink left and blink right. Oh, that's right, I also raised my eyelid a little bit for these. This will be better if I turn on wireframe for you. This is how I ended up doing this one. Hopefully this helps you, I guess. Here's my ah. Oh yeah, I ended up opening it way more than how I demonstrated doing it before. And in fact, you can go even more than this if you want. When I talk, my mouth doesn't end up opening that much. So we got that. Here's the ch sound, which is pretty much just the lips opening like that. Here's my d, partially open with the tongue going up towards the teeth. Here's my e. Did I make the tongue move on this one? Not really. Well, very slightly. I lowered the jaw very slightly, but I mostly just made the lips go out horizontally, because that's how that works. Here's the f. Here's I. The documentation says that this shape can act as a starting point for many other shapes, which is true. The k shape, for example, I believe I started by new shape key from Mix on this one enabled, but I modified it a little bit. Raise the sides of the top lip. Yeah, like this part right here got raised a little bit more compared to the I sound. Okay, I'm gonna be here forever if I go over every single one of these. I'll just quickly cycle through. In, tongue go up a little bit. Oh, you make a circle. Oh, you make a more of a circle. Puh. You just, yeah. Tongue kind of goes into the teeth a little tiny bit, but the lips open up a little bit, but the jaw doesn't move very much. Still, this is silent. The VRChat in particular likes to have this one. If you don't, things might not work correctly. However, this can't just be the same exact thing as your basis. You need to slightly modify it. So what I did was I grabbed a vertex somewhere and I moved it very slightly. I don't remember which one it was, but a good example would be like at the very back of the tongue where no one's gonna see. You edit your still shape key and just move this like that or whatever, and you're fine. As long as it is legally distinct. Here's the sound, and then th. Tongue coming forward is important for this one. Here's my VRC blink both. Oh, make sure your left eye, by the way, is your left eye, as in your left, not our left. Oh, also lower lid, forgot to go over that. I don't remember where or even if this is used in VRChat, but it doesn't hurt to have. I think this is what it's supposed to do. Even if this isn't explicitly used on its own, it's still helpful for making facial expressions, which is another thing you can make via shape keys. So those are all the basic blend shapes you want, but also, if you want to make facial expressions, you can do the same thing that you've been doing. I have a happy closed one right here, where my eyebrows go up a little bit and my corners of my mouth kind of, you know. I also have happy open, which is like this, and I used the lower lid ones and propagated from those shapes of those open to make this one. I specifically made it look like this because I noticed whenever I'm laughing a lot, I kind of make this shape with my mouth. You don't want to make your mouth fully open for an expression like this, because this is going to be applying along with your other shape keys. For example, if I'm making this happy expression while I make an ah sound, like a ah, that is being added additively. That was a sentence. You can see the same thing happening right here if I enable ah. Oh, does that look less bad with the wireframe off? Yeah, okay. See, I wouldn't want to make the happy mouth look like this, because it's already going to look like this whenever I make an ah sound while smiling. And if I did make it look like this, I can simulate what that would look like. Then it would be doubling up on itself, and it would start to get a little... Okay, no, I'm not going to look at that anymore. No thank you. Yeah, you get the idea. Here's my surprised. As you can see, I make the ears go up. And I also shrink the eyes a little bit. If I wanted this to be more pronounced, I could have shrunk them even more, but I think that's fine, so whatever. Angry. I mostly just changed the eyebrows and a little bit of the eyelid shape. Here's my confusion face. I believe I made this by partially closing the right eyelid like this, and also raising this. Yeah. So once you have some of these more basic things, they can be useful building blocks for generating additional things like expressions by using the new shape key from Mix feature. Here's my sad face. I also have brows up and brows down. These are specific to VSeeFace. They allow you to add eyebrow tracking. I actually made these last, and just to give you an idea of like an easy way to make this kind of stuff, here's how I originally generated these. I will in fact get rid of them temporarily. I'm going to make a new shape key, name it Brows Up, go into edit mode, Alt left click, and then Shift Alt left click this one, and Control L to select those. Now I'm going to go up to vertex, and instead of blend from shape, no wait, instead of, okay, propagate to shapes is like blend from shape but in reverse. Now I'm going to blend from shape and select my surprise expression that I had already made before, and there you go. Add doesn't really matter in this particular case. I can change how much it adds it. I can even go into the negative. I'm gonna set it to 1, because that's exactly as much as it is in surprised. Maybe slightly less than 1 actually, because surprise should be where my eyebrows are at their maximum, I think. Now check this out. I'm gonna go back into object mode. I can set the minimum range of this to below 0. I'm gonna set that to -1, and now I can not only raise these up, I can do the opposite of what they're doing and make them go down instead. And I can then take that and make a new shape key from Mix and name that Brows Down. Set the minimum for this back to 0, so Nico's gonna need that. Now I have Brows Down and Brows Up. So I think I had to make some minor adjustments to it. This may or may not work perfectly for you. You may need to adjust some things here. These eyebrows are a bit flat looking when they're lower down like this, so I might go in and just make it slightly more curved for when it's down like that. Something else I need to mention real quick, just to make sure you understand how this works. If you need to edit part of this mesh after you start making the shape keys, make sure you're on your bases, because if I like decide my nose needs to be bigger, and I'm on the ah shape key, and I like bring it out like this, Well, this is only active for the now. It's not for any of the other ones. That's very strange. However, if I edit the basis, then all other shape keys will still have that edit attached to it. Also, I'm pretty sure I used this before, but I don't remember the context, so I'm having trouble thinking of an actual example to use to demonstrate this. But there is a feature called Propagate to Shapes that does basically the opposite of blend from shape. If you have a geometry on a shape key where you want all other shape keys to have that same geometry set up like that, what you do is you select that geometry and then go up to vertex and propagate to shapes. So I did that with my eyelash being down here, and what that did is now every other shape key has my eyelash being down there. Now, that's not what I would want to do, but maybe you can think of an example where you need to perform some sort of process like that on some other thing. By the way, some of those blend shapes were technically optional if you're only using this for VRM applications. A lot of them only use the a, e, u, e, o vowels, which would be a, e, u, e, and o. However, silence should these are all for VRChat, and they also happen to work with VSeeFace. That'll give you better lip sync. Instead of just having these 5 vowels, now it can also detect when you're making a p or a f sound. At least ideally it will. You know, it's not perfect, but I have noticed it looks a lot better now than it did before in my first videos with this, because that was before it added support for these. So yeah, if you're using VRChat and or VSeeFace, you should have all these ones as well. If you're not, and you just want basic bitch baby lip sync, you can probably get away with just these ones. Okay, so once you're done with your blend shapes, that's the final thing you have to do for your model. We now enter a very important phase. The one I like to call, you think you're done? You think you're fucking done here? You fucking fool. You icon of hubris. You poor damaged soul. This is where you want to finalize everything and apply your modifiers and be ready to do all the rest of your work in Unity, but that ain't happening. This is where you get your model just barely set up enough to import properly, and then you bring it into Unity and apply a jiggle bone to your ass, only to realize it clips out of your shirt, so you gotta go back in the blender on a save before you merge your meshes and fix that, and then re-export it, and then you notice another thing wrong, and then you'll repeat this process about a dozen or so times before you're actually ready. You are not done until I fucking say you're done. But for now, apply or remove all of your modifiers aside from your armature. I believe that includes the data transfer modifier I was using for my custom face normals, because that's not here anymore, so I'm assuming I applied that. Maybe I just got rid of it. No, I probably applied it. I don't remember. Oh, I don't know how any of this shit works. Select your armature, edit mode, hit A, Alt-R to set your bone rolls to 0 if they're not already. Click a mesh, click your body mesh last with Shift Select, hit Control-J so that your body is the final mesh. Don't fucking save unless it's to a new iteration, and go ahead and export it with all of the settings I told you about earlier. I'll let you rewatch that part if you need to remember how to do it, which you might, because there's a lot of very specific steps here. But once you have your FBX with your shape keys in it, you can head back on over to Unity. If something isn't working, a good troubleshooting step is to re-import the FBX you just made into Blender and see if everything is working there. If so, you did something wrong in Unity. If not, you did something wrong in Blender. For example, I had trouble getting my blend shapes to appear in Unity, only to finally import my export back into Blender and notice the shape keys were also missing there. So I was able to search Blender not exporting shape keys on Google, and I figured out that you need to apply certain modifiers first, so I made sure everything about my armature was applied, and it worked. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and delete the original FBX that was over here. That's gonna make this turn red, and I'm going to drag the new FBX as shape keys and stuff right on into here. Put it in the assets. Now you may have to reconfigure some stuff here, use external materials, and then alright, because this is right next to the materials folder here, it should have everything working already. If not, just go back to the thing and do everything again that I told you how to do earlier. Make sure you enable legacy blend shape normals, otherwise all those custom face normals we may or may not have gone over in a previous part will no longer be working. As soon as you enable any shape key, which I can demonstrate by opening this, clicking on the body mesh, and opening this blend shapes drop down. Let me get the sun facing like a side where you can see it. Alright, you can see it's working there. Let me actually apply a Poyomi shader to this so it doesn't look like garbage. This kinda still looks like garbage actually, and I'm not entirely sure why. Maybe it's just because it's of this very specific angle right here. Kinda. Yeah. I don't know why the normals on like my upper lip are like that. I never really noticed that being a problem in practice, but that's probably bad. Anyway, if we have legacy blend shape normals off, then we go in here and we enable a shape key. Wow, it looks like shit. But if we turn that on and we do it, then we can safely, yeah, it still works. Set your rig up as a humanoid again. I already told you how to do this. Go in, make sure upper chest is blank. Jawbone, double click that to the backspace. Okay, scroll down here if you don't see the thing. Apply. Done. Why did it zoom me out? It's minimized this for some reason. Now it may look like your entire project just got deleted, but it is only a trick. You just click on this and it's all there. All of that should be good now. Right, I'm gonna repeat the process that I did earlier for setting up a VRM file. Export that boy. It says it doesn't know what Poyomi is. That's okay, we're gonna reapply that later. Hey, how about I make this organized this time? VRM Export. And I have it put everything in here. Alright, here it is down here. Let's now hide this and drag the new kid in town. Alright, now we're free to apply our Poyomi and everything else. Okay, we can shove our head bone onto here and our main camera onto here as usual. Mess with our eye settings by hitting play. I already went over this. Yeah, that looks about fine. Yeah, okay, whatever. Actually, these should probably be the same exact number if we're gonna be that close. And I'll set this to 25 because I like the number 25. Copy component, stop playing. Click this, paste code of values, Control S. Never hurts to Control S, except for when it does. We now have access to a new world known as blend shapes. Click this. Double click this. Alright. So neutral, you don't need to mess with. Oh, important note. I know like 20 words in Japanese maybe, and that means I am qualified to tell you that this is not A, I, U, E, and O. This is A, I, U, E, and O. That is very important, because a lot of people don't realize that, and they end up applying the wrong thing. Now, A is pretty obvious. You want to click on here and set the A. You can see a tiny little preview of that down there. However, E is not I, and E is not E, or E is not okay, Okay, these are based off of the Japanese syllabary. Here's a fun fact. These 5 vowels are always pronounced the same, no matter what word you are saying them in. This is always A, I, U, E, O. That is how I know for a fucking fact, by the way, that it is not Ornstein and Smo. It is Ornstein. Look, it says it right on the health bar. It says it right on the health bar. Ornstein. Fuck you. So anyway, this is E, which means we're gonna be adding the E shape, where your mouse goes wide. E. This is U. Closest we have to that is this down here. The reason this was like such a more circular, like a closed circular thing is because this is for the U sound. This right here is O, this right here is U. I should have probably mentioned that while I was going over how to make blend shapes, that this one's supposed to be U. Anyway, that means O over here is O. And E over here, the closest we have to that is this, E. Now we can continue going through these. We can set our blink to... We could just do both of them like this, but we also have our blink both shape key down there, so I'm just going to do that. Joy, we can set a facial expression such as happy open, same for angry and all that. I'm just going to skim over some of these. Look up. Now this, I believe, is something you ignore. Blink L, however, you set that to blink. Blink R, you set that to blink right. Now we're gonna have to create some of our own because this is not the full list. We need to make as well as surprised if we have that, and browse up and browse down. So I'm gonna start with browse up. I'm gonna create a blend shape clip. Just gonna name that browse up. I will click on this and set it to... Oh wait, this is the wrong FBX. This is actually my VRChat version, but that's... Oh, that's why the clothes are so polygonized. Whoops. That's okay. I trust you to be able to figure that out. You just keep clicking create blend shape, and it'll make another thing, and you set the appropriate slider for all of these things listed here. Assuming you're using VSeeFace, which you should be, and assuming you want them, which you should. And you can actually add as many of these as you want. For example, my confused expression didn't really fit in any of these. I think I set sorrow to my confused expression, and I made a bonus one for sad, just because I wasn't planning on using all of these default ones right here, joy, angry, sorrow, fun. These can be set to be automatically detected in VSeeFace. So I use joy for like the big happy, fun for the small happy, angry for angry, and then for sorrow I set the confused face. And I made another one for sad. Anyways, once you're done setting all that up, you can do all that other stuff I told you how to do earlier. You can set up your dynamic bones if you're using VSeeFace, or your spring bones if you're using some other VRM application where you need to actually use the VRM file. You can set up your shaders, which, as just a test, I'm going to once again only change one of them, because I do not feel like going through this for all four of them. Turn that shadow strength off. I have no idea where to actually put this in the video, so I think now's as good as time as any. I'm just gonna slot this stuff into around here. I'm about to talk about how to make cloth physics for like if you got like a cape or whatever. This is a very optional thing. Feel free to skip the next 12.5 minutes if your character does not have that. Like you look down at the YouTube timeline chapter thingy and it'll show when the next part comes. Well, I never really realized just how fucking tiny Minoxidil is until seeing him stand next to me. Like, I am 6 feet tall, but tiny. Okay, I'm gonna talk about cloth physics, cause this video is already over 2 hours long at the time of me editing this. Fuck it, who cares? There might be some of you out there who are planning on using this, and it was really hard for me to figure out how to do, so I want to try to save you that trouble. This should work in both VSeeFace and VRChat. I've only tested it in VRChat, but I don't see why it wouldn't work in VSeeFace. Let me just show this in action real quick. Got my boy right here. Look at that, the cape's actually like wiggling and waggling. If I move his arm down, cape's like, wow, look at that. In order to do this, you need to use a cloth component in Unity. Now, the cloth physics component in Unity is something you have to apply to an entire mesh, so in order to use it on something like a cape, you'll have to have your cape on a separate mesh when you export your model. This is kind of a no-no thing to do. Every VRChat avatar guide you'll see will stress the importance of merging all your meshes into one. I'm not 100% sure why it's so important or how much of a difference it'll make to performance, but basically this is something you should probably only do if you really have to. I tried using regular dynamic bone physics and colliders for this cape, but it just would not work good at all, so I kind of had no choice if I wanted to stay true to this character design and keep his side cape. If you must, here's what you do. First, go back into Blender and make sure the thing you want to be animated like a cloth is on its own separate mesh. I think you know the drill on how to separate things right by now, right? You just like select something, hit Control L, and select like the whole thing, go mesh, separate selection. The hair is now on its own bald, but of course I'm not doing the hair, I'm doing the cape. But my cape is already on its own mesh. Now merge everything else if it's not already, except for this thing that you're going to be animating, and export as I told you how to do earlier. Wait, no, first. Okay, now it took me a while to figure out how to get cloth physics to work, and I don't entirely remember the series of steps I had to take to get it to work, but I'm pretty sure your mesh needs to be unskinned. That means no bones and no weight painting. So if I select this armature, then shift select this cape, and I go on over to weight painting, you'll not find any bone that is associated with it. How the fuck do I... Whatever, there's no weight painting on this. Okay, I deadass cannot find a simple way to just clear all the fucking weight paint from a thing. You could probably just like... You can use the subtract brush and paint over the whole thing. Or you could probably go here and if you could click... Like if I click the neck and I click remove... And I click select... No, okay, I click the... Just fucking... delete, remove all groups, that would probably do it. Wait, why didn't it fucking go to object mode, remove, where'd it go? I can't do it now. Why can't I do it now? Just fucking, this will probably do it. I didn't do that on this one though. I still have all these vertex groups. I probably don't need them. I can say for certainty that this is not assigned any weights to anything. If I go into pose mode and I change these bones around, it's not gonna affect that cape at all. So I must have cleared it somehow. I don't know, figure it out, I'm sorry. Okay, back into Unity. Oh, what the fuck did I do here? Okay, so, you know what, no, I don't trust this. I'm re-importing the whole thing and I'm doing it all over again. I don't want to pretend to tell you that it's fine when it might not actually be fine. Okay, drag my FBX in here. Drag them over to here, I don't care. I'm not gonna bother with any of the... Oh wait, something I should bother with is telling you about backface calling. So, this should probably not be double-faced, by the way, whatever you're about to do. That's something you may or may not have noticed here. There is no thickness to this, it is just perfectly, it's just one plane. Another thing you may notice is that the geometry is really fucked up. That is because the cloth physics object operates based on not bones, because we don't have any bones assigned to it, but on the actual vertices. So I had to decimate this thing. Let me show you how to do that real quick. It's just a simple old modifier, decimate, and you can drag this ratio down and it will get simpler and simpler, and yeah. You want to do this until it no longer gives you problems. And needless to say, this should be on a separate save so you don't lose your original mesh. But yeah, if it's too highly detailed or if it has double-sided polygons, then that might be a bit of a problem. It might be a little bit too much, especially for VRChat. I don't think VRChat would be very happy with you. Anyway, because it's only one-sided, you can see here that you can see right through it. Oh no, not a problem. Any shader worth half its salt is going to have a way around that. At the very bottom of Poyomi, there is a rendering options thing. The call can be set to, it's probably on back by default, but if you set it to off, then it will render both sides of the plane for that particular material. Now then, okay Minyak, so I'm gonna try to get you sorted here. Oh, this is already parented to the chip. How the fuck did I parent this to the... Oh god, that's really important. If you're wondering what this floating square is, by the way, this is my data transfer for the custom face normals. Man, this should probably be more detailed than this. I think I know why it looks so bad on my models. There's like no reason at all not to have a million extra subdivisions on this. But I gotta figure it out. So, because this mesh is not assigned to an armature at all, when our model moves around, the thing does not go with it. That means we need to parent this mesh to a bone, which is a thing you can apparently do. It's actually pretty easy. All you got to do is go into object mode, click on the mesh, shift select the bone. Wait, how the fuck do you do it?
Go to pose mode and
go to pose mode. Then you select the bone, control P, set parent to bone. Now when I move this, there we go. Okay. That will result in your hierarchy in Unity looking a little something like this. You see, here's our two meshes. Here's our body, and then here's our cape. You may notice our cape is underneath of our chest because it is a child of it. Yours may not need to be on your chest. If you have like a trench coat with some long flowing thingies or like a skirt or something like that, you would parent it to your hip. But this one needs to bend along with the chest. Right. Click on that cape mesh, add a component, and type in cloth. Now, this might sound strange, but I'm honestly like terrified right now. Okay, what happens if we just click play, first of all? You get a scene. Oh, there it goes. Okay, we don't want that. Here's what you, how the fuck do I do this? These little buttons. Edit cloth constraints. Okay. I think there's maybe a way to make the radius, like the size of these spheres smaller. But, I don't remember how. Oh, one thing you can actually do is increase the scale of your model. In every direction. Okay, he's big now. and then when you go on it and you click on this, the spheres are small now. This is the only way I figured out how to fucking do it. Otherwise, they're all very close together and it's hard to do anything. So you need to set constraints on these top things to make it so that they can't move. Set the max distance to like 0, and then you can paint over all the ones that the bits that you don't want to move, the bits that are like connected to your model. Oh god, it's dark back here. So like that, yeah, it's just whatever. And then when you click play and you go to scene, now it doesn't fall through. Everything else does, but this part doesn't. Cloth basically just applies gravity to it, so if you don't have a part of it saying, hey, don't let this part fall down, the whole thing just falls. Now let me show you what my weight painting or whatever you call it there could actually end up looking like. A little bit something like this. So you can change this number here to anywhere between 0 and whatever the high number is, which I think tends to change around. Mine is at 0.2. It doesn't really matter. All that matters, it's all relative. So like if I type 0.2 here, and I paint these are now, this is like a sliding scale of what's allowed to move. All of these red parts up here are completely perfectly constrained. These purple parts are mostly constrained, but they're allowed to move a little bit, and then at the very bottom, this is allowed to move all the way. Why is there a purple down here? I don't fucking know. I'm swearing a lot. I swear a lot when I'm confused and scared. However, that is not all I have on here. I also have a couple colliders. Oh, I also have some settings. You can... oh god. Yeah, I'm not even gonna bother remembering what all this shit does. These numbers work for my cape. You can try these out as a basis and adjust certain things for yours if it doesn't look right. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I got some capsule colliders here to make it so that it doesn't phase through my character's arm. I have one for the forearm, one for the bicep, and also one for the chest. I believe these are attached to their respective... Yeah, so this one is a child. Why is it disabled? For some reason I have these disabled up here, but they still work just fine. Very strange. I don't know why that is. I don't know if that's supposed to be like that or not. I don't know. Although I am unable to actually see what they look like. Now my chest capsule is not actually inside my chest here. I moved it to the side a little bit. Oh, I should tell you how to fucking make these. Okay, right click your chest or whatever bone you're putting this on. Create an empty. I swear to god, okay, you click create empty. See, it's right there, you can see it now. Then on this game object, you add a capsule collider, and then it's there. You can then right click and rename it, and yeah. You can change these numbers to change how big it is. The radius tends to need to be pretty small. You can give it a height if you want it to be capsule shaped. And I believe the main reason I have this here was to stop it from getting caught under the arm, because I had this problem. Let me see if I can try to replicate it by temporarily getting rid of this chest cap. I go up to play. If I move this arm around a bunch, you can see the colliders works, but if I move it too much, it gets stuck here, and that's not good. However, with this collider slotted in there, when I go to play and I move my arm, it still gets stuck, but I can get it unstuck now by, you can't see the collider because it's disabled, but as my arm goes down there, that other collider starts pushing the cape back away. And this basically just results in, on average, the cape being way less fucked up in VRChat, because if it does end up clipping through the arm, it tends to unclip itself. It's wonky. You gotta really finagle it if you want it to do what you want it to do. I think that's it. I don't know what cloth self-intercollision does, and I'm very afraid to ever try it. Once you're done, if you had to make it big to mess with all the painting and stuff, you should maybe be able to eventually set the scale back down to 1:1:1, and then if I click on the cape, this fucking bullshit will happen, where you have this giant box here. I need to remember how to fix this now. Okay, I wasn't recording, but I disabled and re-enabled this, and then I disabled and re-enabled the cloth component, and then the box shrank itself. I don't even think that's how I fixed mine when that happened to me. But it seemed to work in this case, and I don't know how I did it before. Okay, now where was I? Once you're ready, you can go ahead, click on this, and go to the VSF or the VRM if you're doing that for some reason. Expert avatar bendable. Never mind, I need to get rid of this fucking... Why are you here? And... oh, I wrote a thing here. If it's not letting you drag things from your hierarchy into your inspector slots, you can unpack the prefab. That would be if, for example, you're trying to drag your head into here for the VRM look at thing, but it wasn't letting you. If this is the prefab, you can unpack prefab, and then it should let you, but I don't understand what that actually does, and I can't promise you it won't mess something else up. But that's just something I thought I should mention because I ran into that problem like one time, and I'm sure at least a couple people here might as well. Okay, anyways. Let's go into VSeeFace and see if that is working properly. Avatar selection, add new one, shape key demonstration. Please work. Okay, it works. Hey, and it even has the mouth tracking and everything. It does not have a very good mouth tracking because I did not set up all of the other bonus shapes that I told you about. You should probably be able to see the difference between this and the last one, just how much of a difference it makes when you have these bonus ones here. But the important thing is it works. My leap motion is working just fine. Man, this looks so weird without the right shaders on. Alright, cool. So we can go into our settings here, and there's a bunch of different things. Now, what works for me is likely not going to necessarily work for you, but I'm just going to scroll through these and show you what I use. Actually, I'm going to go to my actual thing, where I have everything set up properly, and look, you can already see the lip sync being a lot better. If your extra blend shapes aren't working in VSeeFace, like the eyebrow tracking or the extra mouth movements, go back into Unity and click on your mesh and make sure they're actually there, because there was a time where they mysteriously disappeared for me. Oh, your lip sync might suck at first, particularly if you have bad lighting, a bad webcam, or you don't move your mouth around very much, like me. If that's the case, you want to make... So right now, it's doing lip sync based on how the webcam is looking at my mouth. So if I open and I move my mouth around, it's not very good for those reasons I just listed. But if I enable this, it's now changing my lips based on the sounds it is hearing coming out of my mouth, much like how VRChat works, where in real time it is recognizing if I'm making like a B sound or a ch sound or whatever, and it's making my mouth look like that. I don't know how it does it. Technology is kind of crazy, because it's like there's barely a delay at all. There's also this hybrid option. If I have this off, I'm opening my mouth right now. Like, it was wide open just then, but nothing happened on my model because I wasn't making a sound. However, this gives you both worlds, where if you leave your mouth open, it can detect that even if you're not making a sound, but it also still uses the audio to have a nicer looking lip sync. There's this lip sync audio override gain here that I assume has something to do with that. Okay, these are all the settings I use. I have experimental expression detection on. This makes it so that, okay, so normally if you want your character to have a different emotion, you would have to hit a hotkey for it. I have those hotkeys set over here. My surprise, for example, is Control-Shift-F6. However, VSeeFace is able to automatically detect your facial expression and change it accordingly. So if I raise, this is the tracking points, this is what I actually look like in real life, by the way, hello. If I raise my eyebrows, my character's eyebrows raised in the thing. Well, that's me like going way up there for the surprise expression. But it can also detect my eyebrows going up and down a little bit, slowly. It's kind of hard to get it to happen, but well, you can see it a little bit there. I don't usually like try to raise them up and down intentionally. It's just a thing that helps to make the face look a bit more animated as I'm talking, and occasionally my eyebrows just go up and down a little bit, like that. So if you want, you can set your hotkeys. There's some other settings you can do here, like the transition time. Sorrow is what I have set to confusion, and I have eye blinking disabled, because if I don't, then it looks like this, because like I'm physically blinking my eye. I'm like almost closing my eye in real life, so it thinks I'm blinking, but it's also trying to make this face, so when those two happen at the same time, it doesn't look good. But I can keep eye blinking enabled for the other ones, like a surprise. And here's my sad hotkey over here, which I do not... These are all the ones that it can automatically detect: fun, angry, joy, sorrow, and surprised, which can be whatever you want. Of course, sorrow is not sorrow for me. Sorrow is my confused face. So I had to add sad as an additional thing, and I can only access this one via hotkey, which is Control-Shift-F7. Wow. By the way, you see that? That's leap motion. It's quite finicky. It's probably better if you have better lighting in your room, I do not. I might end up making another video after this going over some advanced things, including how to have better hand tracking, where you combine Vive trackers with leap motion, so that that sort of thing doesn't happen, but I haven't even gotten those myself yet, so we'll see. Anyways, if you wanted to automatically detect your facial expressions instead of having to hit those hotkeys, what you do is you go down here, and first you want to set it to neutral, so make a neutral face in real life, and click this, and it's going to start memorizing your face. Now you want to move your face all around, you want to blink, you want to talk, you just don't want to make a different facial expression. You need it to figure out what your face looks like at every angle while it is in a neutral expression. So once you've done this for a little bit, you see it accidentally made a surprise face there even though I wasn't trying to. So now I just kind of, oh yeah, see right there? I'm sort of overwriting that surprise face. See, it shouldn't be doing that now, because I'm not making that face in real life. So I'm going to stop the recording here, and I'm going to click Calibrate, and it should hopefully no longer be doing that when I'm looking over this way. Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's doing that anymore. By default, you won't be making any of these expressions because you have to set them all manually first. Let's do the angry one now that we've done neutral. So before I click this, I'm going to make an angry face in real life. That's weird that it's not even, like, detecting this anymore. Okay, whatever. I'm making an angry face. And this is probably what it'll look like for you, too, because you haven't recorded it yet. But I'm looking mad. I'm looking mad, and I'm looking all around, and I'm blinking, and I'm talking, and sometimes I'm not talking. And it's kind of hard to keep this face up for this extended period of time. You can see my face freaking out. That means we're overwriting it successfully, because now it's going to look like this when it's on this. Okay, I'm going to calibrate. Now, whenever I do anything that I was just doing, I look very mad while doing it. And you can go ahead and do the same thing for all these other expressions. And once you're done that, you can click Save Calibration As, and save a thing into wherever you want. Like in this, there's a calibrations folder I made here. And there's a very good chance you're gonna have to re-record a lot of those. If you notice your character starts emoting when you're not actually making any facial expression in real life, record more neutral. If you're trying very hard to make a surprise face, but your character just won't make it, then record more surprised while making the appropriate face, of course. The rest of these are either self-explanatory or the opposite of that, which in those cases they probably don't matter. You can hide your avatar. Locomotion, what the fuck? There's some crazy things you can do in this program. OSC/VMC receiver. VMC stands for virtual motion capture. This can actually receive data from other programs that do different things, such as full body tracking. You can have full body tracking in this if you use virtual motion capture and you send it to this with the like the Vive puck trackers and stuff like that. What other settings are there to mess with here? There's leap motion. I have mine on my desk. Some people like putting it on their chest. They attach it with like a little thingy. You're gonna have to experiment with what works best for you, because most people say that the chest attachment works better for them, but I personally get more luck with this. Just make sure when you change it that it's in the right spot. Like, where is that thing right now? It's up there. It's not supposed to be up there. So I would change the position of the height down if I were attaching it to my chest here. But I'm not going to actually do that. I'm going to leave it flat on desk. But it's slightly tilted on my desk, which is why I have this rotation X up a tiny little bit. You want it to look like how it does in real life and where it does in real life. You may also need to mess with the scale of it. Oh, I didn't even mention what this was. This is the Leap Motion controller. It's like 80 bucks. It kinda works, and it kinda doesn't. By the way, Alt and use left click, right click, and middle click to move your camera around. Now you want this so that if you raise your hand and you put it up against your head, it's actually there. This is about right. My hand in real life is at eye level right now. If this was too high up, like this, then I would move my hand in front of my eyes in real life, and then move it until my hand appears like that in this as well. This detection range thingy makes it so that it doesn't start detecting your hand until it's within a certain range. If I have this off, then it'll start detecting my hand even when it's all the way, or at least it's when it's all the way over here, this is like way above my desk. However, if I have this on, which I like to have on because it really likes to occasionally detect my hand in places that aren't there. I think it sometimes detects my mic as my hand or something, I don't know. But if I have this on and I have it really low, it'll only start detecting my hand once I move my hand almost right above the leap motion, right here. And then I can move it back a little bit and it'll stay there. You can set the transition time and hands down delay if you want to make it look bad, I guess. I don't know. I don't like the hands down delay very much. What else do you have up here? You have effect settings, bloom. Wow. Yeah, I never mess with any of this stuff. Whoa. Oh fuck, I just ruined my settings. I don't know how to, can I control Z in this program? Nope! I'm gonna look at this recording and get it back to where it was before I messed with this. Because I think the default's pretty fine. Yeah, I'm not gonna go over every single setting. Just do what works for you. You can change the fucking arm angle if you wanna. Whoa. Oh, that is not very good weight painting on that sleeve right there. It's a good thing I never raise my arms like this unless I'm playing Beat Saber, in which case I do that like all the time. Shoulder stiffness, I think this affects the... Yeah, this is for weight motion. Just do it, mess with it on your own time. I don't know. I'm spending too much time here. Isn't there like a bunch of other stuff I'm supposed to be going over? Yeah. Look at all this shit I'm supposed to be teaching you. How long is this video at this point? Oh god, I'm sorry. Okay, anyways, just do what you need to do here. Look for anything that's going wrong. Fix it however you know how. And once you're ready, we can talk about finalizing your model. Wait, no, I'm supposed to talk about VRChat first. Okay, VRChat. This is our VRM file, so I'm gonna hide this one. This is the FBX that I originally imported. Alright, so I can set up... Wait, this is the wrong set of materials. What I want is select prefab asset? Yeah. These materials. I'm gonna unlock my Poyomi, because I really hate how that stripe right there looks. And I'm just gonna bring this clothes outline in. If I was trying to actually finalize this, I'd be doing all this other stuff too, so you should probably do that. I'm just not doing this because I've already done all my stuff and I'm lazy. Okay, let's try to get the actual face working this time, perhaps. So I'm gonna add a VRC avatar descriptor again. Now, VRChat is very picky about how to get eye tracking working. This is a page that goes over how to do it and make it actually work properly. VRChat won't enable... This is kind of old. They might have changed some of this by now, but let's see. VRChat won't enable eye tracking at all unless 3 requirements are met. First, the bone hierarchy, armature, hip, spine, chest, neck, head, and then left eye, right eye must exist. Let's look at our armature. So we got hips, spine, chest, neck, head. We have I.L and I.R rather than left eye and right eye. So I'm going to rename this to left eye and right eye. The blend shapes, blink left, blink right, VRC, lower lid, those must exist as the first 4 blend shapes. Right, let's look at our blend shapes. Click on this, lip sync. We can click on auto detect here, and it's going to automatically set all of our correct blend shapes to all the correct thingies. Now when it talks about the first 4 blend shapes here, I believe that means if we click on our mesh right here, yeah, so I have it set up like that. Blink left, blink right. This is something you do in Blender. After your basis, you should have blink left, blink right, lower lid left, and lower lid right as your first 4 blend shapes. Blend shapes are just another word for shape keys, by the way, I guess. I don't know why some people call them blend shapes. Maybe there's a distinction, but they're basically the same thing. An object must be named body. This is why I told you to make sure your only remaining mesh was called body. There's some stuff here involving problems I've never personally run into. You can pause the screen if any of this applies to you. And of course, make sure the actual eye bones... By the way, these don't have to be the actual eye bones, I think. These can be dummy bones, but I don't know why you wouldn't just have them be the actual thing. Maybe for like some very specific and weird character design sort of thing with special bone requirements. I don't know, but anyway, as a triple check, even though I'm like 99% sure this is correct, I'm going to click on my asset that I originally imported down here, go to Rig, Humanoid, Configure, Save, and I'm going to triple check that the head has the left eye and right eye assigned appropriately. Now, we renamed these in the hierarchy outside of here, but they're still set to I.L rather than left eye here. I think that should be fine. This is the actual model I ended up using for VRChat and it worked for me, so yeah, we go here, it's still named left eye and right eye. Okay, let's see. Eye look, enable. Let us attach our correct eye bones. Left eye bone, right eye bone, and preview our rotation states. Yep, those are working, at least in here they are. These are flavor for how your eyes behave in-game. The top one is how often your eyes look around, and the bottom one is how often they make eye contact. I don't make eye contact very much. I also don't move my eyes that much, so I'm gonna set those both down a tiny bit. We have blend shapes for our eyelids, so let's set that to blend shape. I don't remember this at all, but it's asking me for the mesh that the eyelids are on, and that would be this one. Yeah, this is good, okay. Blink, we set this to vrc.blink_both. Yep, that works. Looking up, I'm gonna set these to none. I don't know what these are for. I guess this is if you have shape keys for them. I don't know, I'm not gonna pretend I know what that is. Expressions! Customize. I need to remember how to do this. Oh god.
Create a new animator controller. This will be your FX layer.
Oh god. Right, I'm gonna link this guy's video in the description. Oh, there's an updated version of the tutorial. Maybe this will be easier. I'm learning just as much as you guys. I learned this for a day and then it all left my head. Hey, by the way, if you ever have this problem where the inspector over here is not showing anything for some reason, right click this, click close tab, and then up at window, general, inspector, and then it should work and I can put it back on here. Okay, I was gonna tell you how to set up your facial expressions for VRChat, but I don't understand how any of this stuff works, and all I would be doing, it would be directly telling you step by step what this person's telling you how to do in this video. So instead, I'm just going to link this in the description, and I'm going to let you figure it out, based on this person's instructions. I imagine most people watching this series are interested in making their avatars for VTuber applications anyway, rather than just specifically VRChat, so I don't want to fill this video up and make it even longer than it has to be by talking about things I don't understand at all. Alright, let's try it out. VRChat SDK, show control panel. Make sure the appropriate one is selected. That would be this one right here. Let's auto-fix all this stuff that I don't understand. Overall performance is now good, because I don't have any dynamic bones on it right now. And look at that, I'm just below 70k triangles, because this is after I performed some optimizations that I'm going to tell you how to do after this. Build and test. Let's see if it works. Okay, avatar. Here's the one I just did. Let's see. Okay, the shape keys are working for the face. That's good. I can't help but notice that those eyes do not seem to be looking around. What did I do wrong? VRChat is pretty good at showing all of the different blend shapes we made. Like if I make a ch sound. Yeah, look at that. That's cool. Alright, I knew something was gonna go wrong. Let's find out how Oh, I forgot how this works. Okay, looking at my actual thing that I have working right now, it seems I did not have to name these left eye and right eye exactly. I just kept them as I.L and I.R. However, you're supposed to change some of these numbers around. Okay, these things aren't just for show. You're supposed to type in some numbers here to control where these eyes are going to be when they're looking straight up, down, left, and right. You can probably leave looking straight at all the defaults. However, for looking up, I'm going to make them look up by dragging this. I'm going to unpreview that, and then for looking down, put them down like that. Maybe that's a little bit too much, I don't know. Looking left, we want to change the Y value. Left would be this way. I think like minus that. So minus like 12 is about right. And for looking right, I'm going to do the same thing, but not a negative. Okay. Yeah, these numbers control how far your eyes are going to look when they're looking in those particular directions. I'm just gonna type in the exact numbers I originally used. Okay, I don't know why typing in negative 4.4 gives you negative 4.3999994, but I guess that's basically the same thing. Sure, why not? There's a 1 at the end of this one. Okay, let's change this to a different... I'm gonna be alien. And then we will click on this again, and we will once again build and test. Let us pray. Yay, there we go. Eyeballs are looking around. Okay, and there you have it. And it seems that the quick shoddy job I did on my gestures is also working. If I do the thumbs up one by hitting, what is it, Shift F8, I do a smile. So hopefully you won't have too much trouble getting these working as long as you follow that guide I linked. That's what I just did to get this. Okay, all of the various components of our model are now functional. That doesn't mean we're done yet. Of note, originally when I was crawling around in VRChat, I noticed that because it bent my head like this, my hair would clip through my neck here. That is a problem you may run into. I fixed it by adjusting my weight painting. You see how these hair strands right here aren't going along with the rest of them as the head bends? Yeah, that is because I took some control away. You can see the tip of this isn't red, unlike for most other hair bones. That's because I gave a little bit extra control over it down to the neck bone. In fact, the tip of this is actually almost red to the neck. Well, orange. So these hair strands are kind of glued to the neck a little bit so that they don't clip through it. If your character has long hair, by the way, good luck getting that looking nice in VRChat. I wouldn't even know how to do it. There's a reason that every 3D female video game character from before like 2010 had short hair. And if yours doesn't, you're about to find out why. Have fun with that. Oh, I should go over Beat Saber real quick. For those of you interested in getting your model to work in Beat Saber, first take a look at your ceiling. Is there a light bulb hanging from it? Are you tall enough to reach it with your hand? If so, buy some spare light bulbs. You will be needing them. Okay, I'm not gonna spend a bunch of time on here. I'm just gonna link this guide in the description, basically. A couple things I will note, however. You don't have to make a shape key for your character's hands at the end of fist. You can just pose them in Unity. Like you can just click on a finger, and you know. If you're lucky, your pivot might even be lined up. Wait. Local? Global. Hey, that's better. Okay. Now I can, there we go. Why is this like this? Is this because my bone rolls aren't cleared or something? I don't know. Also, these hand objects you have to position might not end up lining up exactly how you'd expect them to. I had to kind of put them floating in front of my hand a little bit to look good in game, or else like the sabers were not physically where this was for me exactly. You can get there with some trial and error. I also had to extend my character's arms, which can also be done in Unity. I take this forearm and go to the scale, and then I can go like that a little bit, just a tiny bit for like that and the bicep, and I do the same numbers on this one. Otherwise, when I held my sabers out at like my full wingspan, they'd be floating away from my character's grasp because my model physically could not reach far enough to grab them, because apparently I have the proportions of a hairless orangutan in real life. That's all there really is to mention. That isn't super straightforward though. I doubt many of you even have a VR setup to begin with, so those of you who do and want to play Beat Saber with your model, go here, link in the description. Also, you should use Mod Assistant, look it up online. I'm not gonna link this one, there's too many links in the description as is. And this will let you, the custom avatars thing right here, you click that and then you click install or update and then it goes, and that's the easiest way to do this stuff. I'm sick, by the way. Thought I had it all recorded out, but here I am weeks later while I'm fucking... Look at the size of this damn... But you know what? Hey, this is nothing. You know what sucks? Having coronavirus. Not that one. Not that one. This one. It's completely unrelated. But the vaccine doesn't protect me. Sometimes life doesn't happen how you think it will. Okay, so there is a higher than decent chance that you notice some clipping while you're messing around, especially in VRChat, because at this point in time, assuming you've been following this guide to a T, you still have your entire underlying body mesh underneath of your clothes. It is time to change that. There are two ways to do this. The first way is to go into your texture painting and physically erase... How do I make this transparent? Okay, I don't know how to do this, but I have a model here that I downloaded for studying purposes that does do it. However, it is a VRM file which Blender cannot import by default. So I searched Blender import VRM. There's GitHub. No releases. Oh, you just fucking scroll down right here. Okay. Then I think you just take that zip file. How do you... Install add-on, VRM add-on for Blender release and stuff. Okay. I'm telling you how to do this in case you want to also learn, because Vroids are about as standardized as 3D VTuber stuff gets. So if you find a VRM file from like a Vroid, or if you make your own and you want to import it into here, and or like, you know, anything like that where you want to learn from something, I should credit you make this one. Okay, this was made by import. Why is my mouse cursor? Oh, excuse me, ma'am. I would like for you to go over here. Oh, that's a whole bunch of shit. Okay, whatever. And enable the materials, and then you can see if I get rid of this shirt. These polygons are still here, but they are completely transparent, so you just cannot see them at all. Therefore, they will not clip. How did they do this? Okay, yeah, that sure is an image with transparent parts on it. Oh, but you got this stuff down it. What the fuck, bro? Okay, I'm gonna take a wild shot in the dark and say that even if you don't have all of this set up to show the transparency in Blender, you know what? As a matter of fact, I'm even gonna test this out. I'm gonna revert to when I did not import this model. I'm gonna go to Texture Paint. Actually, I just do this in Unity real quick. Okay, if I just delete half of my face and then I save that, and I take that in here, I put that on the. Yeah, okay. So in Blender, unless you set up some weird funky bullshit, transparency is just going to be rendered as pure black, but then in the actual thing it'll be transparent. So yes, you can do that. However, you will not be saving any polygons by doing this. If you are already below 70,000 tries, then that would probably be the ideal thing to do to prevent clipping. This means you can save this underlying geometry throughout all of these optimization processes we're about to do, and through the different versions of things we're about to be saving. So if, for example, you decide to make a swimsuit version of yourself, you can just swap that texture out, and then you have skin again. However, I'm at 156,000 tries right now. That is with the subdivision surface on my clothes on. However, if I turn that off, that's... I think I also ended up lowering the subdivision surface on my hair. That helps a lot. I'm at 95,000 now. Still a little bit above 70,000 though, which is what VRChat wants, or it's gonna yell at you. And if it lets you post it at all, then there's a decent chance a lot of people won't be able to see it because it will automatically be graded as very poor. So if you find yourself in this case, it is time to save a new iteration, you motherfucker, and then delete what you're able to delete. We're going to end up saving a lot of polygons because this body had its subdivision surface modifier applied to it. I had to, because of the shape keys. If I was smart, I could have probably had this head or something, or at least like everything above the bust area be on a separate object, and that way I wouldn't have had to increase the poly count of everything else that you're not even going to be able to see. I'll let you know how it is. An easy way to do this is go make sure in face mode, hit Alt, left click, call ring, and then if you hit Control plus or Control minus on the numpad, you can bring that up. And turn on. Why is this not mirroring? I couldn't tell you. I'm gonna click select here, select mirror, click extend. Now we got both sides, and why did you not pick up that part? In my finalized VRChat version, I managed to get to just barely 69,000 tries by deleting all of that. The entire inside of the legs up until they become socks, the upper parts of the pants, though that was mostly to stop clipping, pretty much the entire arms and most of the torso except for the parts where it starts to come up where my shirt collar is. Now the reason that this is shaped like this is to prevent additional clipping. Like I said, the pelvis area is a fucking nightmare. This part I could have maybe painted over with transparency rather than outright deleting, because it didn't save that much on the polygon count, and now it's just like, what the hell even is this? But whatever. If you go too trigger happy with this though, you will potentially start running into the opposite problem, where you start noticing gaps in your model, especially around the pelvis. I try to do a pretty good job of preventing this, however, there might be a little tiny spot somewhere where you can see it happening. Actually, no, I did this solid. Good job, me. But let's say I did it slightly worse. Maybe I got rid of these faces right here, and then when I went to bend my legs, started seeing this. Yeah, you gotta be careful, you gotta play that balancing act. As I've mentioned, I think a couple times now, the ideal way to do this would be for geometry like the pants and the shirt here to be physically connected. That wasn't an option for me because I didn't model with that in mind. Hopefully you did, maybe, I don't know. Yeah, in case it's not obvious by now, after you're quote-unquote done doing this, you're going to want to go back into probably VRChat and test your new geometry a whole bunch. Make sure you didn't just make any glaring holes. Make sure you actually took care of all the clipping that you were seeing before. And then we can move on to the next step. Reminder that weight painting is, well, I wouldn't call it your friend, but it's the only thing you can really do to finagle this. You see a particular polygon going forward or not forward enough, just a tiny little bit, you can go to the weight paint mode and give just a little bit extra something here and there, or take it away or whatever. Particularly around those edges that you are deleting. I want to make sure that this part is not going along too much with it, or else then I might start seeing a gap there at some point. Maybe that's... By the way, it is possible to delete these faces and then get them back later on, assuming you saved on the new iteration. I thought it would be funny if I did like a VRChat hot tub stream at some point, so I've been working on this. Should really put a belly button on here. But anyway, for this what I did was I imported a previous version of my model, or maybe I opened it in like a different window or something, where I had the body still. Then I copied that, I put it in here. I selected all the faces that I had deleted on this other model after all the other optimization stuff that I did on it. Then I separated that by selection, deleted the rest of it, so then I just had like the mesh with the center of the torso and legs deleted, plus the mesh that was just the center of the torso and the legs. Then I merged them, and then they were touching each other but they weren't physically connected, so then I hit A to select all, and then Alt N, Shift M, just M, merge by distance, and then this will make it so that any vertices touching each other will physically connect to each other. I didn't even have to do any weight painting for this stuff, it was already there. It kind of just works. Well, I haven't scanned these shorts yet, but this leg was transplanted from a previous version of my model. Okay, now once you've done everything you can for your model as a whole, it's time to talk about splitting it into two separate branches. I need you to listen very closely. This is the part of the process that has the potential to be the most annoying if you don't plan things out properly, so it's important that you do so and you thoroughly test your avatar in every scenario you picture yourself using it in first. After I made part 3 of this series, I noticed my collar was clipping through my lower neck when I watched myself playing Beat Saber, as it only happened when my shoulder bones lowered and was only visible from the rear.
I didn't bang my controllers together, what are you talking about?
Because I noticed this after I had already finalized everything, I had to decide whether to edit a version of my model from before the 2 branch splits I made, or start by editing each branch. If I chose the former, it would mean I'd only have to perform the fix once, but then I'd have to redo everything I did that was specific to each branch. If I chose the latter, I'd be able to shove the edit into my already existing specialized versions, but I'd have to perform the edit twice, and seeing as how this particular edit required weight painting, that was going to be annoying. I chose to do that method anyway because I didn't want to redo the hairbone merging I had done for my VRChat version. That's something you may have to do, by the way, in a second. So then I redid the weight paint, googled around until I figured out how to transfer weight paints from one mesh to another, and then I had to go through the whole process of re-exporting everything for every program while trying not to break anything new. So when I say this part comes after you finalize your model, I mean final, as I'm talking like VTuber _ final _ V3 _ capitalized final for real _ oops, okay, now final I hope, .fbx. Now then, once you've thoroughly tested your avatar in whatever applications you plan on using it in, for me it was VRChat, VSeeFace, and Beat Saber, you've tested every feature you want, and I do mean every feature, like eye tracking, lip sync, expressions, hair physics, and not just from a cursory glance, but rather playing around long enough to realize that your ears wobble weirdly and your belt flips the fuck out when you give it a dynamic bone, Your iris clips through your lower eyelid when you look down while performing certain expressions, and your dick becomes fully erect whenever you crouch. Once you've finally done the days-long process of troubleshooting all of that, and you've gone back in the Blender and touched it up and re-exported it enough times to no longer see any glaring faults that you'll need to fix for every version of it, and you can finally see the finished fruit of your labor, you are ready to fully commit to 2 branches of your model. Or, well, this is assuming you actually have any plans on using 2 different versions of your model like I am. If not, then I guess you can ignore half of this. Go ahead and save 2 separate versions of your model, one for VRChat and one for VTuber stuff. You might be planning on using other programs as well, like Saber, and in that case you can think of these 2 branches as the optimized version for other people to see, and the fancier version for personal use. You don't have to perform VRChat style optimizations for Saber, so it can use the same export you'll use for VRM/VTuber stuff. It's possible you don't plan on doing anything in VRChat at all, in which case you don't have to bother making a separate branch for that. It's also possible that your model is already low poly enough and like doesn't have a bunch of jiggle physics or whatever to the point where you don't have to make any other optimizations for VRChat, in which case you don't need a fancy version. You can, again, only have 1 branch. For the rest of us, however, we're gonna need 2 different branches. For the VRChat one, you do what you gotta do, which will likely involve making sure you're under 70,000 tries, merging any bones you want to add physics to until you have less than 32 of them, which I went over how to do at the 52 minute and 53 seconds mark of part 4. I honestly don't remember if I mentioned this or not. There's too many hours of footage for me to go back and check, but not only does VRChat want you to have fewer than 32 dynamic bones in order to be ranked anywhere decently and be seen by everyone, there's also a collision check number that needs to be below 8. Basically, the more colliders you have, the higher this number is going to be. If you would like to check that, go to your control panel of the VRChat SDK, make sure you are clicked on the right thing. And then down here somewhere, I have 32 bones on this one. This is after I merged my hair bones. I got just barely under that. And my collision check count is 6. So yeah, once you've ensured that you have ideally no more than 32 bones that you plan on adding jiggle physics to, go ahead and merge all your meshes, clear your bone rolls. You can probably do some other optimization techniques here as well, like texture atlasing if you want, but I don't really know that much about that, so go look that up if you want to be a good boy, especially if you have a bunch of different materials. I'll link a VRChat texture atlas guide in the description. Once you're done with that, you are good to go. Merge your meshes, don't save, apply your modifiers properly before merging your meshes, unlike what I just did. Export it as usual, set everything up in Unity one last time, and build it for VRChat. If it works properly, you're done. If it doesn't, God help you. I already did that. You gotta scroll up to get to your published avatars rather than your test builds. I probably mentioned that, I think. Did you merge your meshes, by the way? You should merge your meshes. The only time you should ever have more than 1 mesh is if you're an asshole like me who absolutely needs cloth physics for his alien's little side cape. As for your VRM branch, well, you're a lot less limited, so you can re-enable those subdivision surfaces on like your clothes or whatever if you disabled those for VRChat. You don't have to merge your millions of hair bones. Hell, if you want to, you could even up your subdivision surface count if your computer can handle it and you feel like it's worth it. And once you're happy, you just export it the same way you've already done a million times and go into Unity and do all that stuff again. This concludes everything you should hopefully have to know to get a 3D VTuber model up and running. I pray to God Christ Almighty I didn't forget to mention anything and that I won't have to make a follow-up video, but if I do, you'll find it in the outro of this video. There's also a chance I may make a part 6 one day going over bonus things like advanced face and hand tracking, but for now actually, before we leave, I do have one fun bonus thing to tell you about. So, I went over the most obvious forms of shape keys in this video, but there's a whole lot more you can do with them besides just controlling your character's face. You can use them to change any geometry of your model along a binary slider. Let me give you an example of the power you could wield. You could add a box, shrink it down super small, put it inside of your character's head. Super small. Then I would probably weight paint this to the head bone. Then make a shape key, call it like a box or something like that, where when active, this becomes bigger. Scale it up by like 10. Whoop. not that big. So now you have this, where the box. You could then add an additional blend shape thingy in Unity, like I talked about when making the bonus blend shapes for VSeeFace. Then go into VSeeFace, go to your expressions. It should be in this list then. You probably want to set the transition time, maybe even 0 seconds, that way it doesn't appear to slowly grow out of your head and clip through it. It just kind of appears on it or whatever. And then you'd have a button that makes the box appear on your head. But hitting a button yourself is not the only way for you to trigger it. I have with me today a special guest here to tell you about some advanced streaming techniques.
Hello, my name is OCTAKOPIE, or Octa for short. I'm a streamer on Twitch, and I also make some tutorials on a program called Touch Portal that you can use to do and automate many things on your model and in your streams via a Stream Deck style button on your mobile device or through chat commands or redeems. In my intro to Touch Portal video, I include an example of how to make a chat command that does exactly what Mako described. It hits a key on the keyboard to trigger the blend shape that I've made, that then pops out of my face and simultaneously plays a sound, like this. Or like this. So feel free to check out that video if you want to make triggering your blend shapes easier, or getting creative with what you can actually do with them and making some fun stuff for your streams or your videos. And now, back to Mako.
So yeah, you can just set your expression in VSeeFace to a non-existent virtual function key like F13, make Touch Portal trigger that F13 press through chat commands or donations or whatever, and there you go. In OCTAKOPIE's case, they have little planes inside their head with images on them that have shape keys which cause them to expand and move forward to display on their visor. So when someone in chat types !pizza, their face is replaced with a pizza. Go follow them, by the way. They are a very kind and wonderful person with some of the most creative stream tech I've ever seen. I'll link their tutorial and their Twitch near the top of the description. They actually used this tutorial series of mine when making their model, and now they're bringing their own knowledge into it. Things kind of came full circle. Okay, holy fuck. I don't feel like plugging my hands in to wave goodbye. Yeah, this has been the end of a journey. To any of you who made it this far, congratulations. I wish you the best of luck. The easy part's over. Now you have to actually build an audience. Good fucking luck with that.